them and find out the market value. If you know a collector, tell Donnelly about them. If they sell it, you get a Donnelly's Finder fee. Money for you, cash in your pocket. Randy, what are you on the hunt for now?
Hi, Sean. I'm currently looking for any old signs for my August auction. I'm especially looking for old gasoline advertising signs and even gas pumps in any condition. Old soda pop and beer signs are also very sought after, and I even have buyers for old outdoor neon and porcelain signs that advertise a business. You'd be surprised at how much some of these signs are worth, but you won't know how much they're worth until you send me pictures to DonnellyAuctions.com.
Do you have any of these items? Call Donnelly Auctions. Do you know anybody that does have these items? Call Donnelly and get the Donnelly's Finder's fee. Donnelly Auctions, 815-923-7000. Tell them Sean sent you. Hey, folks. I just can't help thinking of our stress levels. And high blood pressure is the number one key risk factor for mortality. In fact, 1 in 2 Americans walking around have high blood pressure. That's a ticking time bomb. But thankfully, it's never been easier to take control of your blood pressure. With 120 Life, a truly remarkable natural juice blend that can actually help you lower your blood pressure without the side effects of taking pills every day. 120 Life is formulated with scientifically backed ingredients from superfruits, berries, and minerals that have been shown to naturally help control high blood pressure. And it works. It's endorsed by over 70 health professionals, and I assure you, that's not fake news. I use it myself. I love it. You can try it for yourself risk-free with their 2-week trial. Just go to 120 Life and use the coupon code LIBERTY to save 15% and receive free shipping. If 120 Life doesn't help lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they give you your money back. It's guaranteed. Go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Go to 120life.com today.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So day 2 of the RNC was punctuated by the vanquished. Current Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former U.S. Ambassador to the UN and South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley take center stage. They did last night. And remember how I want to say that politics isn't about making friends, it's about aligning interests? Yeah, that's what you saw on stage yesterday. Exactly. That's what you saw from Nikki Haley.
Unity. President Trump asked me to speak to this convention in the name of unity. It was a gracious invitation, and I was happy to accept. I'll start by making one thing perfectly clear. Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period. For the sake of our nation, we have to go with Donald Trump.
It's an odd way to say it, isn't it? For the sake of our nation, we have to go for Donald Trump. If there was anything less at stake, then maybe we wouldn't have to. It's almost the implied. I'll tell you, I'm glad she's not the vice presidential pick for a lot of reasons. One is I just couldn't tolerate 4 years
of what?
Of that halting enunciation, delivering kindergarten level content.
Dan, I don't know what you're talking about. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment. It's funny that you said that, though, because when I was watching her last night, I thought the same thing. You know what? He made the right choice. And then when I was watching Marco Rubio, I thought he made the right choice.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm a bit jaded. Maybe you're a bit jaded, probably less so. But I've just heard so many of these boilerplate speeches at the convention, on the trail. You've heard the lines. You can recite them before the politician finishes them. And so it's just sort of like, looking at your watch, is the 10 minutes or 20 minutes up? And then can we get to some interesting speakers? And there were some interesting speakers. And this is often the case at these conventions. It's the regular human beings, not the politicians, that provide the interesting content. But Before we get to regular human beings, we do need to hear from the other vanquished party, Ron DeSantis, because both DeSantis and Haley, despite Vance being in the pole position come 2028, have an eye towards 2028. And DeSantis was certainly better last night than he was on the campaign trail.
He was relaxed.
At least in debates. He was relaxed. He was enthusiastic, energetic, and he had some, albeit prepped lines, but he delivered them with the appropriate punch.
I am alarmed that the current president of the United States lacks the capability to discharge the duties of his office. Our enemies do not confine their designs to between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. We need a commander-in-chief who can lead 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. America cannot afford 4 more years of a weekend at Bernie's presidency.
Zing!
Trump started laughing.
Yeah, he is right. I don't think President Xi has an 8 p.m. curfew.
No, he doesn't. But are you done with your...
Well, one more. DeSantis on open borders, since this is how he in part made his chops. And, it's okay to reference your record, too, when it's on point and on point with the theme of the evening, which is Make America Safe Again.
They support open borders, allowing millions and millions of illegal aliens to pour into our country and to burden our communities, but just don't send any to Martha's Vineyard, then they get really upset.
Yeah, it's a good recall there. And we talked to Mark Morgan about that, former Customs and Border Enforcement Commissioner. It would be nice as the expected surge this summer. DHS is warning about another surge this summer of illegal immigrants that have been invited here. It would be nice to focus on some of these enclaves again. If they want to just put them on the metro and send them downtown, I would like to see the North Shore and Hinsdale and Naperville, Downers Grove, Glen Ellen get their fair share of Biden buddies, get their fair share of our new arrivals, our new neighbors, our new friends.
They're your buddies.
So open borders and throttling the impact of open borders was certainly part of the discussion last night, and no more powerful, getting to the more interesting content in my view. No more powerful a commentary was offered on that topic, personal one, than by a mom from California named Ann Fudner, whose son died of fentanyl poisoning.
My family and I were living in Southern California when President Biden took office and opened our borders. My Weston was 15. He was an amazing big brother to his 3 younger siblings. Weston attended church twice a week, played football and hockey, and he loved to surf. He had a big heart, and he lived to make people laugh. He had so many good friends. And I was always vigilant to be the best mother that I could be. I was room mom, school ambassador, and I attended all of his sports. We had family dinners and barbecues at the beach. And like most teenagers, Weston wanted to fit in. And in a moment of peer pressure, he tried something that someone gave to him, and it took my baby's life. We did everything right. I had those conversations with him, and fentanyl still found my son. And on February 27th, 2022, our lives were shattered, and our baby was gone. This was not an overdose, it was a poisoning. His whole future, everything we ever wanted for him was ripped away in an instant. And Joe Biden does nothing. I hold Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the border czar, what a joke, and Gavin Newsom and every Democrat who supports open borders responsible for the death of my son.
Oh.
The border czar, too, what a joke. I mean, is there any better comment on Ali Mayorkas than what a joke? Unless she was referring to Kamala Harris, also what a joke. But
Well, yeah, because Kamala Harris was in charge.
Yeah, but
helping out the border.
But she was root causes. Mayorkas is day-to-day operation. They're both doing a bang-up job.
And Homeland Security is in charge of Secret Service, has been for 10 years. And how's that going?
So I mean, those were some of the moments that I think were relevant from last night. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line.
I was waiting, for Nikki Haley to be the belle of the ball. And then I saw Governor Sarah Sanders. And I thought, you know what? She could have easily have been his VP pick, but she talked about how now she's in charge. She kicks foreign Chinese nationals, stops them from buying land in her state. But also, we forget how she was relentlessly attacked by the left.
I was insulted as a guest at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. My family was denied service and kicked out of a restaurant. And a parent at my 3-year-old son's preschool spit on my car. And in those moments, it was President Trump who defended me. And when an MSNBC host, the author of several books on empowering women, said I was unfit to be a mother, and another MSNBC host said I was vile, not even human, and that I should be choked, MSNBC again did nothing. But our president pulled me aside, looked me in the eye, and said, Sarah, you're smart, you're beautiful, you're tough, and they attack you because you're good at your job. Never let them stop fighting.
I thought that was a good moment to remind people how nasty and evil the left can be if they don't like you.
Yeah, it's interesting because that's not what I understand the left's posture to be. I heard from General Secretary Joe. He was at the NAACP convention in Las Vegas doing counter-programming, and he was very clear about vitriolic rhetoric like Sarah Sanders was describing.
You got to remember, in America, we're not enemies, we're friends, we're neighbors. We're fellow Americans.
No.
Most importantly, must fully and firmly reject not only political violence, but violence of any kind. Period. No exceptions.
Yeah, we're friends, neighbors. We're not enemies.
We don't spit on people's car or kick them out of restaurants after they've already been seated when you realize who they are.
We're friends and neighbors. We're not enemies. That's what Joe Biden said at the NAACP.
Nope. No
yesterday.
Democratic amnesty.
Is that how they've behaved over the last 8 years? That'd be a fun follow-up question for Joe. Is that what you think has been going on here? Here's all of the receipts. Would you like to comment on one or more of them? Not just Sarah Sanders. I mean, the to go through all of the examples, and I'm not just talking about name calling. I'm talking about the use of force, the use of political violence, and that's what the state is. So when you use the state to deprive a fellow American, not your enemy, your neighbor, your friend, of their life, liberty, or property, that's political violence. Not name calling, using the state. Mm-hmm. The state has the monopoly of violence, and this Bolshevik revolution in process that started in 2016 and continues, that's how they have used political violence and continue to.
Yeah, they use government agencies to take down people who don't believe in their narratives.
Jim in LaGrange, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy. Speaking of violence, I thought that the most powerful speech last night was that mom from New York City whose son was a war veteran who said he dodged bullets overseas in the Middle East, and he comes home and he gets stabbed to death by 4 illegals, and then he gets let out of jail. They get let out of jail by Alvin Bragg to roam the streets again, and she was exceptional, and it brought a tear to my eye, and that was a damn shame. But I thought she was the most impactful and and the best speaker of the night. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks for the call, Jim. Well, an instant request. The woman he's referring to is her name is Madeline Brame. She's now a victims' rights advocate from New York City. She is the mom of slain Sergeant Hassan Correa. And Kim Fox got a shout out, too.
Hey.
My son, Sergeant Hassan Correa, an Afghanistan War retired veteran. He received enemy fire from the Taliban, only to be murdered with a knife on the streets of New York City. The 4 assailants responsible for his death initially were facing justice, but that changed when District Attorney Alvin Bragg was elected. Suddenly, 2 of the homicidal maniacs responsible for my son's death had their gang assault and murder charges completely dismissed. One of them received 14 months time served. Alvin Bragg charged her with assault with a shoe. And another one was sentenced to 7 years. I later learned that Alvin Bragg often dismisses and reduces dangerous criminals. He wants to clear the jails and return violent felons onto our streets every day. The injustice was devastating for me and my family. I don't want anyone else to experience the senseless pain that many other victims across this United States of America have to live with every day. So I decided to use the voice that God gave me to be the voice for the voiceless across America. We need justice for victims, and we need accountability for prosecutors who fail in their duty. Soft on crime prosecutors like Alvin Bragg in New York, Kim Fox in Chicago, and George Gascon in Los Angeles have turned our great country and cities into war zones. Poor and neglected communities like mine are suffering. And who else in here is sick and tired of being sick and tired?
I agree. That was the best speech of the night for me, too.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
538, Florida Representative Corey Mills on the assassination attempt on President Trump. Intentional? Question mark.
Starting to believe that. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
5:34 is our time. Donald Trump receiving a warm welcome on day 2 of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former presidential candidate, was on stage knocking President Biden over his age and mental fitness.
We need a commander-in-chief who can lead 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. America cannot afford 4 more years of a weekend at Bernie's presidency.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz, in his address, railed against Democrat border policies.
We are facing an invasion on our southern border. Not figuratively, a literal invasion.
Milwaukee police giving an update about the deadly shooting that occurred at the Republican National Convention outside the convention. Chief Jeffrey Norman saying the officers involved were from the Columbus Police Department in Ohio.
Someone's life was in danger. These officers, who are not from this area, took upon themselves to act to save someone's life today.
13 Ohio officers on bike patrol saw the altercation near a homeless encampment. Also, Milwaukee police say an armed man wearing a ski mask was arrested near the convention site Monday. The man was first noticed by Capitol Police just blocks away from the Fiserv Forum. Officers determined the suspect had a gun in his backpack and was not carrying a concealed carry permit. A major highway and several other thoroughfares and key transit hubs in Toronto this morning flooded out. Torrential rains washing over Canada's largest city. President Biden touting his accomplishments, speaking in Las Vegas at the NAACP convention.
We cut black, and the consequence, we cut black child poverty in half.
Federal transportation officials providing $5 billion to replace or improve aging bridges in 16 states. Those grants will be released today. Elon Musk moving SpaceX from California to Texas, pointing to a new California law that bans schools from telling parents if their child starts using different so-called pronouns in class. National Weather Service confirms that nearly a dozen tornadoes struck northern Illinois and northwest Indiana Monday night. A 6-year-old boy is dead after falling into the Kankakee River. The child's body was pulled from the river yesterday at Beckman Harbor. The victim went into the water to retrieve a ball. The river has been swollen up due to heavy rains. Mayor Brandon Johnson is stubbornly refusing to accept any budget savings proposed by the Chicago Public School Administration.
I'm not going to accept cuts. I'm not. That is not what the people of Chicago elected me to do.
CPS is proposing a $9.9 billion budget for 2025, $149 million in new spending, and staffing reductions to cover a $500 million deficit. Bears off to a good start in training camp. The team reportedly signing first-round draft picks Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze as rookies reported to Hallis Hall for camp yesterday. Veterans report on Friday. Sky knockoff. The reigning WNBA champions Las Vegas last night, 93-85, while the Bulls fell to the Pistons in Las Vegas Summer League action, 85-77. The news is a service of Del Bacchio Marchetti Group of Properties, Christie's International Real Estate. With over $800 million in sales, you'll get the most value for your home. 708-828-0000. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager can see the real hatred.
It's so obvious that it's hatred of Israel that is animating. There is so much more vast killings of innocents right now in West Africa. 60,000 Christians killed by Muslim terrorists since 2000. Any colleges taken over on their behalf?
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Freedom and liberty are important to all of us in Illinois, from Rockford to Carbondale, from Quincy to Decatur. If you're looking for civil, intellectual conversations with those shaping the future of freedom, try the Future of Freedom podcast with me, Scott Bertrand. We speak with leaders across the country in the greater conservative and libertarian movements. In-depth conversations about where the next intellectual battles will happen across the country. It's the Future of Freedom podcast. Find it at americastalking.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
You've worked hard and accumulated wealth, but you know the pitfalls involved in passing significant assets to your heirs. The team at Spahn Financial will help you feel secure with personalized financial planning to achieve your legacy goals. They anticipate and manage all your wealth planning needs and focus on the full financial picture, including tax efficiency, income distribution throughout retirement, philanthropic giving, estate planning, and more. They even help you prepare the next generation to be good stewards. Kevin Spahn is a 2024 Forbes Best in State Wealth Advisor and Barron's Top 1200 Financial Advisor. Visit SpahnFinancial.com to schedule a consultation and to view disclosures. That's SPAHNFinancial.com. Forbes Best in State Wealth Advisors List, April 2024. Data as of 6/30/2023. Barron's Top 1200 Financial Advisors List, March 2024. Data as of 9/30/2023. No compensation provided for ratings. Marketing fees apply to promote ratings.
Hi, I'm Charlie Moon. I've been in the trading game for almost 20 years, and I just discovered the most powerful trading tool I've ever seen. So if you're trading stocks or options, then listen up. This new AI-powered trade finder can find you stocks to consider trading, which have had gains as high as 1,729% and have had nearly perfect win rates. It analyzes the entire stock market in seconds and pumps out a list of trades for you to consider every single morning. And the trades it finds can be potentially profitable regardless of which direction the market is moving. So if you want in on this action, listen closely. For a short amount of time, I'm opening up free access to some of these picks and giving you the chance to get top trade ideas from the AI Trade Finder every day for 100% free. Just text trade to 76626. Stop trying to find the right stocks to trade on your own. Just text trade to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text trade to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Text trade to 76626.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
5:42, a check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Blue Stars Security. Support our police and hire the police. To personally protect you and your business, visit online to schedule a free security consultation. That's BlueStarSecurityLLC.com. Eden's right now outbound, overturned vehicle, and accident being tended to by emergency responders between Gulf and Old Orchard. And I-55 remains shut down and could remain shut down in both directions until Friday due to storm damage and fallen power cables in Will County between North River Road and Bluff Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Breezy, a little less humid. Periods of clouds and sun and a high of 81. Currently 72. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by IDT. Eliminate paper files with the IoT Smart Connected Scanning Device. Find them at ready4IDT.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. By the way, I know what your favorite part of last night's RNC, day 2 of the RNC was. I know what it was.
Besides Sarah Sanders.
Besides
who
Sarah
looks
Sanders.
fantastic, by the way. I don't know what her weight loss regimen is, but it's working.
Probably Pilates.
Could be. Or Ozempic. Could be. I mean, I don't know.
Oh.
Everybody's doing it.
Your favorite moment? That was Sarah Sanders? That's what you think your favorite moment was? You don't even know what your favorite moment was. Maybe you didn't see it.
Well, what part? I watched a lot of it. And then when I wasn't watching, I was listening on AM 560 in the car because we have complete coverage at night. So.
Nice plug. Seamless.
Well, you know what, though? I actually have been doing it. I've been listening.
Were you paying attention when West Virginia Governor Jim Justice was on stage?
Oh, with Baby Dog. Oh, yeah, I love that. Yeah, I watched it. That dog is the most gorgeous bulldog. Sorry,
English bulldog.
Sorry, Bunky and Big Bubba Bear, but that dog is gorgeous. And you can tell he just got groomed, Baby Dog. And he brings Baby Dog. I follow Baby Dog on Twitter. He has his own Twitter account. And
yeah, Jim Justice, West Virginia Governor, future West Virginia Senator. Story about a boy and his dog.
I know.
Jim Justice.
Well, he was talking about how when he was driving somewhere and Eric Trump was with him and his car broke down and Eric Trump actually changed his flat tire. Like, he goes, here you have this billionaire and his dad's the president, and he taught his kids how to change a tire. So I thought that was pretty impressive. That's very blue collar for a billionaire family.
I suppose. Mike in Woodridge, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. Just a quick comment for you. I think Nikki Haley went to the Al Gore School of Wooden speech delivery. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And the other thing I was going to say, I really enjoyed the military guys, the guy from Montana, the guy from Nevada that had the horrible event take place over in, I think, Iraq.
Yeah.
And then the other guy from Virginia. I mean, it's great to see some real leadership guys and women that have actually done things other than blow hot air for their whole career.
All right. Thanks for the call, Mike. Appreciate it.
Did I say that out loud?
Also, but enough about Kamala.
Nikki Haley, when is she going to get a stylist?
What?
I can't. I mean, come on. First of all, remember the outfit where she looked like the Hamburglar? She had the big stripes. It almost looked like a jail uniform.
Meow.
Well,
very catty.
no, I'm not. At a certain point in time in your life, if you have now, Mike Scott thinks I'm catty. Oh, I'm a little person. No, I'm just.
Yeah.
Come on, get a stylist. With the outfit she wore yesterday. No. Have Ivanka help her out, or Laura Trump, or somebody.
Laura Trump to you.
Laura Trump.
Pronounce it right.
Right, but
yeah, think Dr. Zhivago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lara, not Laura. Lara.
But no,
yeah,
you know.
Well, that's maybe it can be part of her, makeover team in advance of 2028.
You think she's going to get a cabinet position, or is it over?
No, I don't think so. And especially with J.D. Vance in second position, I think that foreign policy is going to move in a decidedly America First direction, and I don't think there's going to be near as much hedging as there was the first go-around. But I did want to get to something else. Corey Mills is a Republican congressman and former Army sniper, so he may have something to say about the failed assassination attempt. In fact, he does. He also, if you remember, heroically, not just as service to the country, but the catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan, he was one of the guys chartering his own flights with his own tactical teams to get Americans out of Afghanistan when our federal government was unable to. So speaking of what Mike and Woodridge said about guys who've done some things and proven up their commitment to this country, that's not to say that absolves you of anything and everything you otherwise say and do, but it just is important background. So Corey Mills was on with one of these fungible CNN ciphers talking about the failed assassination attempt. And he's been getting some attention because he's raised the specter that, of course, populated immediately online, the conspiracy theorists, both sides, or all sides, I don't know if there's both sides, all sorts of conspiracy theories. But one of them is, and it wasn't incompetence, it was intentional. And this is where he and fungible CNN cipher went back and forth. This is an extended clip, but I think it's important to listen to it all in the exchange to get the full context of it, particularly because the CNN cipher is so obstreperous. Just let the man finish his point. Whatever he wants to say, whatever he's going to say, even if you disagree with it, even if it frightens you, just let him say it, and then you can have a discussion. Stop interrupting, for God's sakes. Have some restraint. People are such children. This is why they can't put Morning Joe on the Monday after a failed assassination attempt, because they have no restraint. They have no impulse control.
You know, it almost seems to me, and I think that an investigation is necessary at this point within Congress, not just the FBI, not just others. You know, I look back at it and I'm thinking, all right, for an individual, if you looked at the escalations and how they are trying to approach him, let's just say that it was like, okay, first we want to censor and silence you, then we want to indict and imprison you. Now we're attempting to kill you and take you off the stage.
Whoa. You, let's slow down.
Please.
I'm hearing two things from you. I don't want to jump ahead of things, but I'm also hearing you jumping ahead of things.
Well, actually, I'm just looking at all the different possible capabilities. You know, one of the things as a military member, one of the things as a person who's run in the special operations communities before, one of the people who's actually done this is that you look at all potential analysis, right?
Donald Trump and his team have said,
No, I agree.
Dial it back. Do not blame this on Joe Biden.
Oh, well, actually, I didn't say Joe Biden, to be completely
Who's the
clear
they then? Let's be very specific.
Well, that's what the investigation has to do. Was it local law enforcement that had made the mistakes, or was there something to it? Was there other types of things that we need to be analyzing or looking at and providing analysis? My point is that when something's so significant, you're talking about something that hasn't happened in decades, right?
I totally.
But my point is this. From a perspective of someone who's actually conducted these, These are not difficult advances. This is not like I'm putting together a stage placement in a tight shot. This is about looking at your surroundings. What is my green, yellow, and red route, which is your routes out in case? What is my actual elements that I need to be looking at as far as mitigating threats or risks or increased levels? Where's my range fan for the sniper that says, okay, here's my 100, my 200, my sketch. Here's an area where someone could shoot. Because here's my thing.
So you're
Let's
saying,
just say it's a Royce element.
You're saying this is so basic that how big the screw up was, that's what's leading your brain down this
That's
road?
exactly right, in a way.
Look,
but because here's the other thing. Let's just say it's a resource.
Tom Emmer was just on with me, and he said very specifically to me, I wrote it down. He said very clearly, it is too early to be talking about who is at fault and who is responsible.
That's why an investigation is necessary.
But, is it not dangerous? Is it not reckless to even be throwing around the word intentional right now?
So to question things as we do an investigation is recklessness, because at that point, then should we never question anything? My point is this.
I'm not trying to be PC. My point is, in the political environment that we are in.
What would it have taken, right? Let's just say that resources was limited. Let's go with that as a reasoning. So how many times have you seen where they just put a police car inside of a parking lot with not an officer in it and just leave the lights on as a deterrent? Why couldn't that have been a simple thing that was placed in? Why couldn't we have said to the owner of the actual AGR company, hey, look, we don't want to disrupt your business, but we also want to make sure your parking lot is clear of people trying to park in there for the rally. Why don't we place an officer there? My point is that this was too easy of a solution. And when I think about 160
I'm just so uncomfortable with even having
I'm uncomfortable with having to say it. Trust me, my whole point is that I would like to look at this and say, where was the mistake made? How can we correct it in the future? Why was this actually done? But I think that this does warrant a J13 type of commission where we can actually look at it and say, let's investigate and find out why this happened so it doesn't happen to anyone. This is not about a political thing. This is about we had an attempt to assassinate a president. We really need to understand what a serious matter this is. And this was a milliseconds or millimeter difference between this being an attempt and this being an assassination. And I can tell you, at 160 yards, Kate, just to give you an idea, your off-the-shelf rifle shoots what they call 1 minute of angle at every 100-yard line. So at 100, it's 1 inch. 200, 2 inches, etc. So now you're talking about 1.6-inch grouping capability of a rifle off a manufacturing line. Your average human being, because we used to do this in understanding sniper training, you're 20 inches shoulder to shoulder, 40 inches head to waist, and you're 6'8" in your average head size. These are kind of the dimensions that you look at as an average. You're talking about a 1.6-inch grouping for multiple shots on a basic rifle. We're blessed, and I do believe in divine intervention, so I am a person of faith. I can't explain one. I hope that it was a corrugated roof and maybe he slipped off on one of the edges of the corrugated roof or he was rushed. But the whole thing, I think, just needs to have a better explanation so that the American people and everyone can feel comfortable.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Any problem with what Corey Mills suggests? Not just the July 13th commission, but more importantly, that you ask the uncomfortable questions, even the question about intentionality with respect to what occurred on Saturday.
And I think we have to process the fact that we may never know the motive behind this. The FBI, the CIA, they might find out a motive, but they might never tell us what that is.
Or nobody may ever find out a motive that is sufficiently explanatory. That's possible too.
I'm around. I mean, I have kids that are 19 and 20, and this guy was politically radical enough to attempt an assassination, but not radical enough to ever post any political writings or comments on social media. I don't know. And then we found out yesterday he took the day off and told his coworkers, I'll see you Sunday. He went to the hardware store, got a ladder. He had 50 rounds of ammo with him. The police officer from Butler Township, which, by the way, that town is 12,000 people. 12,000 people. That police officer said he encountered him and then went away to get reinforcement, and that at that point in time, the shots were fired. I mean, what the hell are we doing here? And then the head of the...
What does that mean? What does that mean? First of all,
I'm a police officer.
First of all, there's conflicting reports about everything you just said, right? There's conflicting reports about how he accessed the roof. There's a report that he climbed via an air conditioner. There's conflicting reports about the officer that encountered him. And number one, that a fact that an officer attempted to encounter him says something about it not being intentional. So there's some, and Corey Mills wasn't drawing a conclusion. He's just raising the question, examine all angles to this. And if you don't let people ask questions, and if you don't answer questions, then you spawn conspiracy theories. And I don't know why this is so complicated for our betters in government to understand. It's almost like they want conspiracy theorists to populate social media and occupy the minds of as many Americans as possible, because then they can just relegate everybody who questions them to being a conspiracy theorist, when people are just asking questions and wanting to get the straight story about details that are in conflict. The local officer we heard that encountered him, we already encountered him, then he jumped off the roof or something like this to get reinforcements. We also heard he was on somebody's shoulders. He peeked up on the roof. The shooter saw him. He turned the rifle on him. He lost his balance, fell down, and then the shooter turned and opened fire. So in terms of Corey Mills talking about being rushed, it could have been rushed. It could have been rushed for that reason. We don't exactly know what the interaction was, or at least there are conflicting reports about what the interaction was between the one law enforcement officer that confronted the shooter before he shot, and so we're still trying to get sort of even the basics. The idea, by the way, the CNN cipher. Oh well, Tom Emmer just said it's too early. Well, who the blank is Tom Emmer? He's just another congressman. This is like another guy Earl Scheibed into looking somewhat consequential. Oh, Tom Emmer has spoken. A Republican from Minnesota has spoken and said
Everybody
it's too early.
freeze.
So we can stop talking about it now? Get the hell out of here. What is that? Talk about it. It's a logical fallacy to appeal to authority, and it's pathetic when you appeal to the authority as Tom Emmer, on this matter at least. So that's number one. But no, it's not too early. You just had the director of the Secret Service say it was a catastrophic failure and the buck stops with me. Good. Now we're starting somewhere. But we can't let them get away with what they do all the time, the accountability theater. It's like ownership of public property. Everybody's responsible, so nobody's responsible. Everybody owns it, so no one owns it. General accountability so that nobody specifically has to be held to account. No, that doesn't wash. And yes, we should start the conversation now. And you should start answering questions. And you should provide information, you being the government, the FBI in this case, since they're pointing the investigation, the House Oversight Committee, to the extent that they can gather any information, but demand specific things. Why can't we see a responsibly redacted transcript of the radio transmissions between Secret Service and other Secret Service and local law enforcement and so forth? Let's be specific about the things, the questions we have and the things we want to see to get answers to.
And then why for 26 minutes they saw him, he was near the metal detectors, and somebody noticed that he had a scope. And then they were trying to find him for 26 minutes.
And the resource issue. Corey Mills, oh, well, let's go with the resource issue. Oh, they're under-resourced. First of all, that makes no sense. That makes no sense when you have local law enforcement, if this is true, staging in the building that the shooter is on, and apparently dithering or not being directed by Secret Service appropriately, since Secret Service has control of the footprint, the control of the event. So that and under resourced, and then we get this bizarre story and the timing of it. Now we find out there was an alleged Iranian plot to kill Trump weeks ago, and so Secret Service actually bumped up security around him.
Oh, that's deflection. They're trying to get us to focus on something else.
So the Secret Service was what they were focused on, the mullahs in Tehran. They got them, but they can't figure out how to get the local nursing home dietary aid with the rangefinder and the rifle bear crawling up a roof with line of sight on Trump. What? I mean, they talk about straining the bounds of credulity. This is not to go full conspiracy theory, because incompetence is usually the Occam's razor explanation for catastrophic failures like this. But
they ran against him. Now they support him. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
My fellow Republicans, let's send Joe Biden back to his basement, and let's send Donald Trump back to the White House.
Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley called for unity at the GOP convention.
For the sake of our nation, we have to go with Donald Trump.
Haley held off endorsing the former president after the primaries and told her supporters last night you don't have to agree with him 100% of the time to vote for him. Fox's Brooke Singman's in Milwaukee.
The theme for day 2 was Make America Safe once again, and we heard tragic stories from real Americans about the impact of violent crime and illegal immigration on their families.
To this day, we have not heard from Joe Biden or Kamala Harris. But when Rachel was killed, President Trump called my family. to offer his condolences.
Michael Moran's sister Rachel was murdered in Maryland last year. The suspected killer, now in jail, is a migrant who came to the U.S. in a record surge of illegal border crossings. President Biden's in Las Vegas and will address Latino voters the day after going to the NAACP convention.
There is the truth about why Donald Trump's presidency was held for Black America. He tried to repeal Obamacare. He kicked millions of Black Americans off their health insurance.
Now, the Democratic convention's next month, but there is a plan to nominate President Biden virtually ahead of that. Set up initially to get around an Ohio ballot issue since resolved. Some House Democrats are urging the party to cancel that virtual roll call as premature.
Basically, these Democrats are saying that this is not the way to set up Joe Biden. They still have concerns about the viability of his candidacy. Here's what they write. Regardless of whether President Biden remains our nominee, Democratic unity and enthusiasm will be critical between now and November 5th.
That's Fox Business Network, Cheryl Casoni. America's listening to Fox News.
72 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Here are the top stories on WIND Chicago. 2 women are wounded after being caught in a crossfire in the Bronzeville neighborhood this morning. Shooting took place in the 2900 block of South Dearborn. A 24-year-old woman and a 28-year-old woman were shot. The National Weather Service confirming nearly a dozen tornadoes struck northern Illinois and northwest Indiana on Monday night. ComEd reports this morning 79,000 customers remain without power in their service area. Parts of I-55 remain shut down in Will County as crews work to clear power lines downed after Monday night's tornado outbreak. Illinois State Police this morning say several vehicles remain entangled in those down power lines. One person was transported from the area with major injuries. The confirmed Shanahan tornado also toppled 2 major transmission towers. I-55's closure in both directions could have global implications. Just east of that shutdown is critical trucking and logistics hubs in one of the nation's largest inland ports. In other news, we're following a 6-year-old boy is dead after tumbling into the Kankakee River. The child's body was pulled from the river yesterday at Beckman Harbor. The river had been swollen up due to recent heavy rains. The Bears are trying one more time to push for billions of dollars in public funding to help build a new stadium along Chicago's lakefront. The Tribune reports team president Kevin Warren met privately with the governor yesterday. The team has also been trying to quietly resolve property tax issues in Arlington Heights on property they own there. Bears off to a good start in training camp, signing first-round picks Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze when the rookies reported to Hallis Hall for camp yesterday. Bear veterans report on Friday. Shota Imanaga and Garrett Crochet's first Major League Baseball All-Star game in the books. Both did well in the American League's 5-3 win over the Nationals. The news, a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk might have a trust issue.
They lied about the origins of COVID. They lied about the Hunter Biden laptop. They lied about Donald Trump and the Russiagate. When I hear that from the intel agencies, they have not earned my trust the last 5 years. Not at all. And the repeated lies and the repeated use of the American government for political means, we should never trust what these intel agencies say ever again.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Fruit and vegetable ingredients have never been more convenient.
It's easy for me to recommend Balance of Nature. It's so simple. It's amazing getting the fruits and vegetables ingredients in 3 red and 3 green capsules.
I take Balance of Nature. I think it's a good product. It's convenient. It's a way to start off with a plus. I can do little capsules in the morning and I'm off to work, you know.
I would recommend Balance of Nature. It's so easy to do every day. I really am happy that I came across it. I feel great, and who doesn't want to feel great?
Time's ticking on your summer savings. Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 50% off with your first set as a preferred customer. While supplies last, go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751. This week is your last chance to claim this offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, you've heard me say that cell phone service with Pure Talk is half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. $20 a month, you get unlimited talk and text, plenty of data, and you think, okay, Hannity, what's the catch? Well, there isn't one. Just ask the thousands of listeners who have made the switch of mine, and they love Pure Talk and their U.S. customer service, their great coverage on America's most dependable 5G network. Dial pound 250, say the keyword save now to start saving now on your cell phone plan.
When you're in chronic pain, you're miserable to be around, and so are the people who have to watch you suffer. So stop it. Do something about it. Now's the time to be proactive and take care of yourself. And there's another solution other than surgery or drugs. Call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, they have a cutting-edge treatment that revitalizes your joints with your body's own healing process. So if you have arthritis or if you're in pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back due to an injury, you need to call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation and get your life and mobility back. You know, I've been to one of their clinics. I met a few of their customers. They were smiling from ear to ear, so happy to have their mobility back, pain-free, without surgery. They have locations all across the Chicagoland area, including new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. Call for a free consultation, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955.
6:08, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is a service of Blue Star Security. Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecurityllc.com. Eden's outbound, major problems this morning. 3 lanes are blocked. Solid traffic from Lincoln in. You're getting by on the left shoulder, but it's really slow between Gulf and Old Orchard. There's a rollover truck and spilled seeds all over the roadway, so watch out. And they've closed the on-ramp from Old Orchard as well, too. So major problems on the outbound Edens right now as you head up to Lake Cook Road. Kennedy inbound, pretty good right now. 28 O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. We've told you about I-55 shut down near Shanahan in both directions. That closure remains in place likely until Friday. And the tri-state already showing up with heavy and slow conditions northbound right at I-88. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Today, periods of clouds and sunshine, breezy, less humid day. High today at 81. Partly cloudy for tonight, low 61. Sunny, breezy, terrific day tomorrow, and the high 75. And then sunny and pleasant on Friday, the high 82. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
72 at O'Hare. Next news, 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. I got so worked up talking about Corey Mills and the new information we're getting about the Secret Service and the assassination attempt and theories and such on it that I talked right to the break. So 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. If you want to comment on some of the questions we were raising, some of the questions that Florida representative and former Army sniper Corey Mills was raising. And just to the point of conspiracy theories.
Yes, I'm trying not to go there, but my mind is going there, Dan.
My mind is not going there, but it doesn't frighten me that Corey Mills raises the specter of intentionality. Respond to it. Persuade people who are concerned, confused that this was just rank incompetence, and provide the specific details that fill in the blanks. That's a way to tamp this down. But again, just so we're clear, this is going in a lot of different directions, as one would expect,
right?
As our political discourse does. There's a YouTuber named James Klug who did some MOS interviews in California, talking to Californians, not particularly Trump fans, generally speaking, and many of them have a particular viewpoint on what happened on Saturday in Butler, Pennsylvania. It won't surprise you. You've probably heard it from your friends here in Chicago.
It's a false flag.
False flag?
Yeah, false flag.
Somebody died and 2 people injured. What do you think about that?
False flag.
False flag.
I thought it was magnificently staged. It was professionally done. It almost looked real.
Wait. Staged by who?
Oh, by Mr. Trump, of course.
I think this whole thing is staged.
You think it was staged?
Yeah.
It depends on everybody's view. Yeah.
View of the assassination attempt? What do you think? Does it kind of depend on where you're standing, whether or not you agree with the assassination attempt or disagree with it?
I just don't see that being the truth, but that's I'd rather just not make any comment.
Really quick, what are you talking about the truth? What do you mean? Oh, you just don't believe it was an assassination attempt?
No.
Please don't.
No.
We're so anti-Trump. I don't even want to.
Was it a bad thing, though? Was it a bad thing? Would you condemn it?
Oh, that he got shot at? Of course.
Yeah, you never do that.
Of course, you don't do that.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, exactly. You don't do that. Was it staged? Probably.
Staged?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think Trump maybe staged a fake assassination for support? Okay. And that resulted in somebody dying and other people being critically injured?
I haven't seen the news today. I'm not here for the news. I haven't seen anything. I'm on vacation.
So you just thought it was fake?
Of course.
One person died in the crowd, 2 critically injured. What happened there?
Small price. It wouldn't matter to Trump. Do you think he cares if people die for him to be elected? Death doesn't mean anything to Trump.
Now, staged from whose side? Do you think Donald Trump staged it for attention?
Could be, or it could be the other side trying to make a scene or something. But I don't. The fact that he only got his ear and he would stood up and said America. I don't. Come on.
Right.
It doesn't feel normal.
What is our evidence for suggesting that it was a fake assassination attempt?
I think that he walked away alive with perhaps a scratch on his ear.
Yeah, it grazed his ear.
Yeah. Of course, behind the scenes, that was all fabricated. Some noise, they put a little scratch on his ear, threw a little blood on his face.
Now, so you think that they planned from 130 yards away to shoot off the corner of his ear?
And they never shot off the corner of his ear. That was all done by the people hanging around him. Nobody ever shot off his ear.
Yeah. I almost can't stomach what you just played.
Well,
the ignorance and just the sickness that they have such severe Trump derangement syndrome that they can't even process what you see live on television. His ear was shot. He has a bandage on his ear because the top part of his ear is gone.
I don't know that we need to go point by point with those people in California who were interviewed by that YouTuber, but it just gives you a cross-section of the viewpoints that are out there, helps to explain to you why, all of the things and everything that he's been through and everything that they've done and everything that we see, and yet, despite the fact that he's clearly in the pole position come November 5, that clearly he's in the lead, this is his race to lose, it's still relatively close. Most of these battleground states, it's still margin of error. Some have moved out of the margin of error, but many are still 50-50 states, as it were.
Why didn't that YouTuber ask them about Corey Campetori, who was
they did ask.
shot?
He did ask him. He said, somebody was
Right.
shot and killed. So
I'll say his name.
I don't.
immediately.
Well,
because he's a firefighter and a Marine, and he died protecting his wife.
he's The point is to say these things happened, and how do you explain what happened? And their explanation is a conspiracy theory that Trump staged the whole thing, from the shots fired to everything else. I mean, that's the point. This is how difficult it is to deal with those who are just completely addled by the political cant of the day, by the Hitlerization of Trump that they consume online or wherever else, and also the total inability to critically think, which is a larger affliction in the America's body politic. There's just no ability to critically think. There are snap judgments. There's first to Twitter or first to Instagram. There is feelings. There is feelings informed by particular viewpoints on an individual or an event, and that's it. And there's no contemplation of questions you don't have answers to. It's just, well, I'm on vacation. I haven't watched the news. And it's the same on the other side with, this was intentional, this was orchestrated, so on and so forth. Well, okay, but then you have to address the bits and pieces of information that we do have that run counter to that. You don't just get to, you can do whatever you want, but you don't get to be credible and just sort of, this is what happened. And any sort of evidence that suggests it's not what happened, I just wave, you can't believe that. No, yes, you have to address it. You don't get to wave it off the way that federal commissars wave off any sorts of substantive questions.
That is just proof that we will never run out of stupid in the United States of America.
Yeah.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Tim in Naperville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Morning, Dan and Amy. I watched yesterday. I was off of work because of all the power outages in Will County. But yesterday I was on Twitter, and I came across a video someone posted of the shooter. It was before the day of the event, and he was in the middle of a little town, it looked like, and he was out of control, ranting and raving, and as he's walking through an intersection, he yells out, and I remember this line very clearly, that he wanted to slit the throats of all Republicans. Now, that doesn't answer conspiracy theory questions, but it does maybe shed a little light on why he was registered a Republican, but he donated to the Democrats. And I think you guys addressed this the other day on the show, that he could have jumped over to vote against Trump in the primary. But I think it does shed light on his view of Republicans, and that's all I got.
Thanks for the call, Tim. Well, I mean, it could also be, this is the, again, fodder for conjecture. So, and MSNBC, MSNBC, what's the difference, really? One of their flacks said, he could have been anti-Trump because he wasn't conservative enough.
Right.
He wasn't right-wing enough. Yeah. They're always going to have spin here, which is why there should be real impetus to get to some facts that fill in blanks as quickly as we can, so that we can get out of this spin cycle where you have all sorts of false equivalences, like you heard from General Secretary Joe at the NAACP yesterday. If you're outspoken about the failed assassination attempt on a former president, then you have to be outspoken about all violence, like George Floyd.
You understand, if you're going to talk about standing against violence, you must stand against all violence. You must stand against violence perpetrated against presidential candidates in Pennsylvania. You must stand against all violence. The violence perpetrated against George Floyd of Minnesota. Against black veterans like police officers Eugene Goodman on January 6th. And black election workers like Ruby Freeman and Shane Moss in Atlanta. You have to stand against the violence and intimidation of white supremacy, the murder, innocent lives in that grocery store in Buffalo, New York when I went up there. Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston, South Carolina.
Bring that back.
But stand against the violence that murdered children in Sandy Hook and Uvalde. Concert goers in Las Vegas. Innocents on the street all across America that never make the news. There's Uvalde every day in the communities across the country. If you're going to be outspoken on one, don't be silent on others.
See?
There you go.
Yeah.
To be silent is violent.
And so I know what you're thinking. Oh, wait a second. I remember that I was opposed to the school shootings in Newtown and Uvalde, and I was opposed to the murder of black parishioners or black congregants at the church in Charleston and the supermarket in Buffalo. Yeah, right. I know, but you weren't opposed enough. You see, because what didn't you do? What didn't you do? Come on, you know where this is going. This is paint by number stuff because that's all General Secretary Joe can do these days.
We're going to speak about guns. More children in America die of a gunshot wound than any other reason. That's stunning and that is sick. And it's sheer cowardness if we do nothing about it. So, if you want to stand against violence in America, then join me in getting these weapons of war off the streets of America. An AR-15 was used in the shooting of Donald Trump, just as it was an assault weapon that killed so many others, including children. It's time to outlaw them. I did it once, and I will do it again.
Exactly. He did it once to no effect, and he's willing to do it again to no effect again.
It's like the 25-year gun ban in Chicago. How did that work out?
So you understand now. It's if you can't stand against the assassination attempt on Trump, if you don't also stand against mass shootings at schools and supermarkets and churches, and you're not really standing against those unless you agree with him to ban some sport rifles. Do you got it? This is how you completely destigmatize something like the attempted assassination of a former president. These are the false equivalences that abound right now, because this is their damage control on the topic. Nick, Northwest Side.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. One thing that would be good to do is to look at videos of past Biden speeches, and when he's outside, and with the technology now, they can zoom in on individual buildings, see if there's a policeman there, like just one, or FBI, whatever, but somebody in law enforcement, clearly uniformed. See if they're watching. You know what's going on there.
Well, you can do the same thing for past Trump events.
Yeah, but I mean, Trump events. This Trump event was definitely not handled properly. You know.
Well, I know that.
Yeah,
Nick. I know that, Nick. But you said if you see a proper security perimeter in a Biden event, and you compare it to Butler, Pennsylvania, you say, well, see the difference. Yeah. I like to see pictures of previous Trump events, previous Trump rallies, and see the security perimeter. And what I suspect is you'll see that the security perimeters are very similar for Biden and Trump events, because in past instances, Secret Service did their job. Secret Service combined with local law enforcement and so forth. And this incident, they clearly didn't, and that's been stipulated too. So now the question is why? Robert, Bloomingdale.
Good morning.
Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, well, this the assault weapon thing, said that 90% of these shootings are by handguns, so why is he banning them? You understand? That's all.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I got a more important point, though. Remember that Highland Park shooting when that kid went nuts over there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right away, within 10, 15 minutes, the SWAT teams were on his house. They were at the neighbors, the cameras were showing the mother walking around. I remember watching this live. I don't know if for some reason during the shooting there was never any videos of
No, there was.
Service. I didn't see any.
I was watching TV for 12 hours straight. The SWAT team went there. They found some canisters that were suspicious. They found canisters in his car. His dad was told that his dad called 911, by the way, when he saw the shooting. So I don't know what he knew, but he knew that his son was allegedly going to...
Stop talking over him.
Amy, did you see the video of the house?
Yes, I did.
You did? Okay, because I looked everywhere. I looked everywhere on Twitter. I don't see any video of the kid's house or his mother's house or anything like that.
It's a small brick-story red house with the small addition.
They went to his house, Robert.
Yeah.
They went to his house. They were there very quickly.
And the dad talked to CNN, and he, not on camera, and said, let me talk to authorities. I don't know what's going on.
Paul, Monticello, Indiana.
Yeah, I don't think they're done with their attempts to get Trump, and I think they're going to get him.
Who's they?
Whoever. It could be another goof. It could be Iran. It could be anybody. But I don't have any faith in government security, so I hope he gets his own. The whole thing's nonchalant about the attack on him. I think it encourages people to do it. I think the next one to get it's going to be hailed as a hero. And I think probably to top it all off, there's going to be an attack on an abortion clinic, and they'll blame it on the right wing, and there you go. You got another bump for the goof in charge.
All right, Paul. Mike, Littleton, Colorado.
Good morning, and thanks for taking my call. Just 2 points quickly. Socrates lamented democracy because basically people with no expertise are chosen to elect people who need expertise. And listening to that montage of Californians, it explains why California is where California is, and and maybe validates what Socrates was thinking. And my last point is this one, and I wish somebody on our side would say this publicly. The founding fathers envisioned a musket or a mace or a club much like any other dangerous weapon. But what they saw, more so than the weapon, what they saw with crystal clarity they wanted to stop was the tyrants like Joe Biden and AOC and everybody else. That's what they envisioned. They didn't need to envision a gun with 25 rounds in the magazine. It was the people they envisioned that were dangerous. So how the public keeps falling for this, man, it is like watching people step on rakes. But
it really is. Yeah, thanks for the call, Mike. It really is, and it's just so tiresome to be in these hamster wheel arguments, right, about guns, for example, and have to make the case again, as Mike did, about evil versus the instrumentality of evil and so forth. Just a pragmatic argument about removing some sport rifles from the hands of some citizens if you can get cooperation, and if you can't, what do you do, and what would the real impact be? But those sorts of practical questions have no place among those with no capacity to critically think, who rely instead on conspiracy theories to explain the world around them. It's highly frustrating. And by the way, it's highly destructive. And the problem is that all of these institutions have so categorically failed to live up to their promise, categorically failed in their missions, that in the absence of that and the chaos that ensues, what do you have? Competing conspiracy theories and boogeyman politics that abounds. Dane Henninger, writing in the Wall Street Journal, how the deeper risks the Trump shooting exposed. The Butler shooting and the Secret Service's failure stand as symbols of a broader, long-running institutional erosion. As troubling, the institutions normally expected to respond, government, the police, churches, appear to have no answer or just look away. There's a turning point event every week. So what was the turning point? Spin the wheel and pick one. And he goes on to say, while we're sifting through the town dump for clues to weekly chaos, don't overlook the contribution of social media by Joe Biden's famous elites. Social media's defining characteristics have become exaggeration and self-promotion. The journalists who migrated their thoughts to Twitter more than a decade ago made ridicule and snark the normal language of politics. Presidents Trump and Biden simply adapted to the new norm, right? So remember that, too, when you're enduring the preening of all these D.C. press corps types talking about, calls for cooler heads to prevail and ratcheting down the rhetoric and so forth.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, we'll talk to retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaefer, 6:36.
And later, she took the call. We'll explain, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike.
70 degrees at 6:30 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Donald Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, will headline tonight's speakers on Day 3 of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. The theme, Make America Strong Again. Fox's Kristen Goodwin is in Milwaukee.
Pennsylvania Senate candidate Dave McCormick reflecting on the attempt on former President.
I think it's a good time to reflect.
Nevada Senate candidate Sam Brown, who served as an Army captain.
It took me back to the same feeling I had when I was overseas, under fire, wearing the uniform, just that pit in my stomach.
Describing what a safe America means to him.
It means that Americans shouldn't be concerned about attacks or threats, either at home that start, domestically or from overseas.
Stressing that includes threats that would come across our borders. From the RNC in Milwaukee, Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Security at the RNC has been heavily ramped up following the recent assassination attempt on the former president. North Florida Republican Congressman Michael Waltz is a former Green Beret, says he has been speaking with some of the Secret Service agents who were working detail.
They were frustrated, they were embarrassed, they were angry because, according to them, they have repeatedly asked for more resources for Trump and his campaign and have been denied by Secret Service headquarters and by Mayorkas at DHS headquarters.
Waltz believes the former president does need more agents. President Biden touting his accomplishments that benefited black Americans, speaking in Las Vegas yesterday at the NAACP convention.
We cut black, and the consequence, we cut black child poverty in half.
He added he's connected disenfranchised black communities while president. Two women were wounded here in Chicago, caught in crossfire in the Bronzeville neighborhood in a shooting this early morning. A 24-year-old woman and a 28-year-old woman were shot. The National Weather Service confirming that nearly a dozen tornadoes touched down in northern Illinois and northwest Indiana on Monday night. ComEd reports this morning that about 78,000 customers remain without power in their service area due to those storms. And parts of I-55 remain shut down in Will County as crews work to clear power lines down after Monday night's tornado outbreak. The closure of I-55 is having global logistical implications and could stay in place until Friday. Bears off to a good start. Training camp underway. The team signing first-round draft picks Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze when the rookies showed up to Hallis Hall for the start of camp yesterday. Bear veterans report to training camp on Friday. The Bulls Summer League team on a two-game losing skid after falling to Detroit 85-77. The news, a service of Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combining heritage and innovation in every cup. Hot air roasted locally and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Online at papanicholas.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
This week, the eyes of the nation will turn to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. At AM 560, The Answer will provide gavel-to-gavel coverage each night, beginning at 7 p.m., presented by 120 Life. Hear all of the speeches, and then instant analysis from AM 560's Bruce DeMont, Jeannie Ives, and John Anthony. And they'll be taking your calls with your reaction. Don't miss a moment as the Republicans officially nominate Donald Trump right here on your election station. AM 560, The Answer.
As everyone can tell, we're living in turbulent times. During times of uncertainty like World War II and 9/11, people have often turned to God. In times like these, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, Illinois reminds all Americans of the ancient promise found in 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is not a political statement. It's a call to all God-fearing Americans to do as God's Word instructs. America needs healing now. Whether you're for the guy on the left or the right or neither, everyone needs to heed the Word of God as 2 Chronicles instructs us. May God bless all our leaders and God bless the USA. This message is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins on Route 59, Naperville, Illinois.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Being active is important to me. As you get older, it gets a little harder every year. But if I had to get rid of all my other supplements, the one thing that I would continue to take in my life is Balance of Nature.
I've been taking Balance of Nature for a little over a year. It is important to have fruits and vegetables, and how convenient you got them in a capsule. Who doesn't love that? I'm going to continue to take it. Why stop something that makes you feel good?
Time's ticking on your summer savings. Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Don't miss out. This week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
6:38, let's get an update on the roads. We do that, of course, in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center. A service this hour of Lowe's. Don't miss up to 70% off. Select major appliances at the Lowe's Closeout event, but hurry. These deals are too good to last. Valid through 8/7 while supplies last. Selection varies, of course, by location. The Edens outbound is the big mess this morning. Between Gulf and Old Orchard, you've got an overturned semi, about 30,000 pounds of seeds all over the roadway. You're solid from Niles Center on up. Traffic is forced off at Old Orchard, and it is, again, a mess right now, traveling out to Lake Cook Road this morning on the Edens. The Ike accident, right shoulder inbound at St. Charles. Stevenson right now delays as you roll between Harlem and Kedzie coming into Lakeshore Drive. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Expect partly to mostly sunny skies and a high near 80. Currently 70 degrees. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, joint intelligence bulletin from the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security. That's not an oxymoron, a joint intelligence bulletin from those two agencies. Warning of potential repeat attacks and retaliation following the attempted assassination of President Trump. The 4-page bulletin stated that violent extremists may attempt follow-on or retaliatory acts of violence. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Just the generic warning. The violent extremists, you mean like Catholics who attend the Latin Mass? I mean...
Or moms at school board meetings? I mean, what kind of violent extremists are we talking? Domestic, foreign, what?
People who have the Choose Life specialty license plates? Because that's who these federal agencies have defined as potential violent extremists. So I guess I need more color on that from the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security and their current formations. And it speaks to the real, whether you think it's justified or not, the real skepticism about the FBI riding point on this investigation of that security failure on Saturday. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, president at Project Sentinel and the London Center for Policy Research, author of Operation Dark Heart, Spycraft and Special Ops on the Front Lines of Afghanistan and the Path to Victory. Colonel Shaffer, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, morning. I enjoy joining you guys, so thanks for having me.
So are we being skeptical enough or not skeptical enough when it comes to the FBI providing any sort of explanation for what has been admitted to be a massive security failure by the Secret Service on Saturday?
They're using, essentially, their incompetence as a reason for allowing this to happen. I'm just not going to mince words. I'm still a member of law enforcement in Virginia. My sheriff I work for, Sheriff David Decatur in Stafford County, had President Trump visit back in 2016. He did a thorough job of working to make sure that not only was the area for the visit secure, he was integrated completely with the Secret Service. They had direct communications, constant. I witnessed it. I was there. I was at the Chesapeake, Virginia rally 2.5 weeks ago, where Governor Youngkin from Virginia was there. I was there. I was actually next to President Trump on stage there. I was one of the guests, the VIPs. And again, I saw integrated, overlapping, continuous law enforcement coverage. So when you see the Butler event, it's all different. And why is that? And the FBI seems to be trying to create conditions for excuses, explaining what we know to see, what we see is wrong constantly. It's like, I think people are, at this point, I can't think of anybody right now who's not saying there's something really wrong here. And you simply don't leave a building and then say the slope was too difficult. You know, as Cheadle said yesterday, that, it's a difficult slope, and then the picture of the Secret Service guys,
on a
the counter
steeper
sniper team
slope.
is right there. Yeah. So clearly something is really wrong, and I don't believe for a minute, unfortunately, the FBI is going to be the ones to get to the bottom of this.
Well, I feel like it was negligent, not just incompetence. And
Yes.
they're saying that this might happen again. I mean, Trump has a rally this Saturday in Michigan with J.D. Vance. Luckily, this one is an indoor arena, but even that's not 100% safe and foolproof.
No, it's not. And again, this goes back to who is going to have to be the ones who are responsible for the president's safety, President Trump. And I think he's learned some hard lessons here. And I'm just going to say this, and I'm not going to. This is not conspiratorial. It's factual. When you look at DOJ, FBI, all the other organizations that went after raided Mar-a-Lago have done everything else they can over the past 2 years to demonize, otherwise use lawfare against the president. Are we really supposed to believe the FBI is all of a sudden going to, change its tune and become a pro-truth organization that's going to examine things factually? And, oh, by the way, the thing you just read, I'm as a member of law enforcement, I see other reports. Let me just give you a little hint. What they said in their report, they copied from another law enforcement organization. It's not even original to them. Just saying.
Well, you can cut and paste the same pablum
There
that
you
you
go.
hear all the time from these same agencies. That's what it is. What about this? Is this also pablum? The story that comes out now yesterday that the Biden administration obtained intelligence in recent weeks about an Iranian assassination plot against former President Trump, and it led the Secret Service to ramp up security around the former president. So now, I'm not saying it was a resource issue on Saturday, because I don't think it was, but as a layman, but I think there's some sort of just commonsensical reasons why it doesn't seem to be a resource issue. It seems to be a use of resource issue. But I mean, the timing of this, now the Biden administration is coming out with, we're on the job and we got this intel report and we beefed up security because we're playing it straight and we're just as concerned about President Trump or RFK Jr. as you are.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's like this is all a kind of a shell game. Yeah, there's resources there. They get anything they want. And this has been a political and policy decision to not give adequate resources. And again, I'll just go back and cite my direct experience. I always like sticking to that because I know what I saw at the Chesapeake, Virginia, near Virginia Beach rally. Most of the folks there were not Secret Service. They were DHS. They were DHSI. And I'm not bad-mouthing DHSI. I have friends at DHS. But, Secret Service is trained specifically to provide protection. DHI special agents who are supposed to be intelligence specialists, that's not their job. I think it's part of why you saw on stage such a ham-handed kind of fumbling of Trump to get him off stage, because only one of those people was an actual Secret Service guy, the big redhead guy. And he's one of the most loyal guys to Trump. He's been on his detail forever. I'm just saying,
and the rest were DHS. I'm sorry, you're saying
the rest were DHS. Just look at the badges. The badges, the shield is the DHS guys. The star are the Secret Service guys. That's an easy way, of telling them apart. And because they all have the badges on their belt. So look for the shield versus the star. The star are the Secret Service guys. Anyway, my point being is that when you actually examine what happened, a professional team would have had him off stage in about 5 seconds. Literally. It's like, yeah, okay, Mr. President, you pump your arm up, but you're off stage. And you wouldn't have had that, Trump's a big guy. I mean, if you look at my social media, you'll see, I'm 5'10", he's 6'2", he's a big guy. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to have people who are less imposing than him, if nothing else, just to be the body mass in front of a bullet. So, end to end, I just look at this from the system that's supposed to be in place that protects the principal, him, as well as the individuals right next to him. There are things really wrong. And again, I think we all see this for what it is.
Ron DeSantis made this comment last night at the convention during his time at the podium. I wanted to get your reaction to it because I know you've commented on this ever since it was raised as a way to assure the public that that General Secretary Joe is at the top of his game. Take a listen.
I am alarmed that the current president of the United States lacks the capability to discharge the duties of his office. Our enemies do not confine their designs to between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. We need a commander-in-chief who can lead 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. America cannot afford 4 more years of a weekend at Bernie's presidency.
What about that? What about the sort of 8 p.m. curfew kind of thing that was actually volunteered by the president and his people? Yeah.
So Peter Doocy asked that question to Miss Pierre, and the answer, because he asked, hey, what if a nuclear weapon is fired at us at 11 p.m.? Who do you call, Joe Biden? And it's a legitimate question. And the idea you have some, shadowy team behind the scenes who'll take time away from watching the latest episode of Yellowstone to actually go maybe attend to defending the country is kind of scary.
Yeah, but we didn't vote for the team. They voted for Biden to lead.
We didn't, yeah. But then again, you look at that, the same issue is like you got, Joe Biden's Bengay smelling finger on the nuclear trigger. Is that better? Because he is so apt to get things wrong. And again, I'm being a little bit funny here, but it's true. He has clearly not been able to focus. I cite for you the Lester Holt interview that the left is all upset about, where Lester Holt stumbled into doing some journalism and actually asked some hard questions. And the Biden responses, I think, say everything. Anytime he's pushed on something, he gets upset. What's wrong with you, man? Well, So this is what world leaders face too. And as a matter of fact, last Friday, an unheard of call from the Kremlin, from their defense guy to Lloyd Austin, and the focus was exactly what we're talking about. hey, are you guys okay?
Really?
Is there someone at home in case something happens? Because it may not be us, it may be someone else. Because the Russians don't want escalation of the war right now, and they're not convinced that we have leadership in place right now that adequately is managing our massive global nuclear enterprise.
I assume you're still close to enlisted and officers in the armed services. I mean, what is their impression of Joe Biden's capacity as commander-in-chief?
So the military is doing its best, especially a lot of my friends who don't like being political, just to do its job. But the concern at this point is, what if this president is unable to do the necessary things to keep us out of war? Nobody wants to go to war. And it's not like people are cowards, but they do see that the constant use of bellicose language, both domestically and foreign, tends to not ratchet down. And I'm sorry, everybody recognizes that we're on the brink of war, and they're not happy. It's not that they didn't sign. It's not that they didn't sign up to be prepared. They didn't sign up to see the potential use of force as necessary because of mistakes politically made. And I think that's the issue. And I think a lot of folks, the people I talk to, most are for Biden leaving. Just saying.
Well, when we say we're on the brink of war, what their perspective is that we're on the brink of war with Russia. We're on the brink of war with Iran in defense of Israel. We're on the brink of which war?
Yeah, all that. The brink of war in the Middle East, because you have the expanded and continuous friction between Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Iranians, to include the Houthi. Just this last weekend, the U.S. carrier battle group Eisenhower, returned after, I think, an 8-month deployment based on the Houthi. That ship took some damage. They're not talking much about it, but it's back in Norfolk now. You've got the Russians and the Ukrainians ratcheting up. The F-16s are supposed to be introduced as a ratchet up. Putin has talked about nuclear weapons. NATO has been using very bellicose language. And I think all of these things are indicating to them and to me that miscalculation is the greatest danger to peace. And I'm a Reagan guy, and I remember during the Reagan years, and I've read about this after the fact. I was a lieutenant in 1983. There were multiple events where the Russians misinterpreted something we were doing and almost launched on us. That's the last thing we want now, and that's why it's important to have people of steady mind on both sides recognizing we don't want to go to war.
He is retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Shaffer, president at Project Sentinel and the London Center for Policy Research, author of Operation Dark Heart, Spycraft and Special Ops on the Front Lines of Afghanistan and the Path to Victory. Colonel Shaffer, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
I always enjoy being on with you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
If it's time for a new roof, your siding's looking old, you need new windows, gutters, or a reliable restoration company, trust me, AAA Roofing Contractors is who to call. They're the real deal. And speaking of deals, AAA offers a wide range of discounts, including military and healthcare provider discounts. And due to the recent storm, AAA Roofing Contractors is giving out free inspections in your neighborhood. The storm may have caused a lot of damage to your property, so please don't hesitate to reach out. AAA Roofing Contractors specializes specifically in insurance restoration claims. They're here to help you every step of the way so you get what you deserve. They value every shingle customer. In fact, they make sure clients are 100% satisfied. Schedule a free home improvement consultation now. Call 847-730-4026 or book online at arcroofinginc.com. Roofing, siding, gutters, windows. Family-owned AAA does it all and does it right, and are insurance specialists. That's 847-730-4026. arcroofinginc.com.
If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait. Find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. Low T Center is not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low testosterone with customized treatment for each patient. The experts at Low T have more than a decade of experience helping patients achieve life-changing results, and most health insurance is accepted for treatment. For established patients with stable T levels, Low T also offers a convenient physician-monitored self-inject treatment plan that ships directly to your home each month, so there's no need to come in for weekly visits. And at Low T Center, your BMI and health can also be evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medication. So get back to your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. Your business and your money are in good hands with Signature Bank. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Jason Zenger, owner of Zenger's Industrial Supply and host of the Making Chips podcast, and a proud customer of Signature Bank. Through rapid growth, acquisitions of competitors, and taking over from the previous generation, Signature Bank was there with us every step of the way. Recently, the team introduced us to FinRails AP, their proprietary system for accounts payable automation. Not only did FinRails AP help us to reduce costs and create efficiencies, but it also helped minimize fraud risk. Now, our company can invest time into what we do best, supplying industrial products, metalworking tooling, contractor tools, and safety supplies to those who make, build, and create great things for our country.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
One of the most important decisions you can make as a parent is where you send your kids to school. But these days, it's never been harder to know which school is best. Public schools have changed a lot, and you might be thinking about sending your child to a private Christian school. But you also know that private school can be expensive, and in this economy, you might think it's not an option. Well, think again. With halfpriceschools.com, you can purchase tuition vouchers for half the price of normal tuition for private schools. For nearly 10 years, halfpriceschools.com has helped families from all over Chicagoland make the dream of private school a reality. And that can be the reality for you and your child too. Just go to halfpriceschools.com, search for a private Christian school near you, and purchase a voucher. It's that easy. Visit halfpriceschools.com. That's halfpriceschools.com.
If credit card debt is stressing you out and keeping you up at night, you need to call Team Hochberg about a fresh start debt consolidation loan. Meet Mitch, 43, IT manager, score 653, making $74,000 a year living in a $300,000 home in Geneva. Mitch accumulated $45,000 of credit card debt when he lost his job, so he contacted Team Hochberg about a fresh start debt consolidation mortgage after securing a new job. Team Hochberg loan officer Johnny Hendrickson helped Mitch eliminate the credit card debt he accumulated while being unemployed and saved him over $1,200 a month. Let's review. Johnny helped Mitch pay off credit card debt totaling $45,000 and saved him over $14,000 a year. What are you waiting for? Team Hochberg helped Mitch and thousands of radio listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or 56david.com. Lower.com, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 112461.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Brandon Tatum weekdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by Charlie Kirk at 7. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, I'm really looking forward to our next guest.
At 7:07, we'll tackle the Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle's latest remarks with former Secret Service agent, took a bullet for Reagan, and former Orland Park Police Chief Tim McCarthy. Tim McCarthy at 7:07.
But first, let's stop by that newsroom and get the latest from Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Trouble on the outbound Edens right now. Overturned vehicle has all lanes blocked. You're able to get by, but just barely. We'll tell you where and when to alter your commute. A 6-year-old boy has died after falling into the Kankakee River, and a Chicago pastor gives the closing prayer at the RNC. Bears agree to deals with their 2 top rookies. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
A show of Republican unity at the convention.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period.
Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis spoke out for him last night.
Life was more affordable when Donald Trump was president. Our border was safer under the Trump administration, and our country was respected.
Vivek Ramaswamy, also an ex-2024 Republican campaign rival turned Trump supporter.
We're not going to win this election just by criticizing the other side. We're going to win this by standing for our own vision.
Make America safe again was the theme last night.
My sister's death was preventable. The monster arrested for killing Rachel entered the U.S. unlawfully.
Michael Moran's sister was murdered last year in Maryland. Tonight, Senator J.D. Vance gets the spotlight, accepting the VP nomination. Vice President Harris says in a campaign ad,
Trump looked for someone he knew would be a rubber stamp for his extreme agenda, and make no mistake, J.D. Vance will be loyal only to Trump, not to our country.
President Biden will address Latino voters in Las Vegas the day after telling the NAACP convention there that the Trump presidency was hell for black Americans. Some Democrats are still worried about the president's age and mental fitness.
To stop the Democratic mutiny, the DNC is going to try to install Biden as the nominee before their convention next month, virtually. Many Democratic lawmakers do not want that to happen, writing in a letter to the DNC chair, regardless of whether President Biden remains our nominee, we respectfully but emphatically request that you cancel any plans for an accelerated virtual roll call.
Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House. A death row inmate is waking up this morning in Texas, but Ruben Gutierrez wasn't supposed to. The Supreme Court blocked his execution last night just minutes before he was lethally injected as Gutierrez appeals for new DNA testing. America's listening to Fox News.
Sunshine, 70 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 2 women were wounded after being caught in a crossfire in the Bronzeville neighborhood early this morning around 12:30 in the 2900 block of South Dearborn. A 24-year-old woman and a 28-year-old woman were struck by gunfire and transported to a nearby hospital. The National Weather Service confirming nearly a dozen tornadoes did strike northern Illinois and northwest Indiana on Monday night. ComEd reports about 78,000 customers do remain without power. Parts of I-55 remain shut down in Will County near Shanahan as crews work to clear power lines down after Monday night's tornado outbreak. Illinois State Police tell us this morning several vehicles were entangled in those down power lines. One person was transported Monday night to an area hospital with injuries. The confirmed Shanahan tornado also toppled 2 transmission towers. It's a critical logistics link and hub, and I-55 could be closed until Friday. A 6-year-old boy is dead after falling into the Kankakee River. River is swollen due to heavy recent rains. At the RNC last night, Republicans say they'll cut off federal funding to so-called sanctuary cities like Chicago, but also showcased failed Democrat policies that they say increase crime and violence. Aaron Del Mar is a Palatine Township Republican.
That's just not a place where we're creating an environment that's safe for people to live. And those policies that Joe Biden has had for 4 years are resonating in Chicago.
Chicago Pastor Corey Books gave Tuesday evening's benediction at the RNC. Several hundred homes in the southern Illinois town of Nashville were evacuated by emergency personnel after a dam failure. Alex Hagelin Tuesday spoke to reporters in Nashville. He's head of the Washington County Emergency Management Agency.
The dam here in town has been overtopped by extensive rains, and we had to evacuate an area containing we had 299 phones in the area that we ordered the evacuation of.
The secondary dam failure as well reported around 10 a.m., and there are still multiple road closures in that southern Illinois town and in the area, including portions of the critical link of I-64. The Bears off to a good start in training camp, signing first-round draft picks Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. Veterans report on Friday. The news service of Papa Nicholas Coffee. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee because great coffee is their family tradition. Online at papanicholas.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This week, the eyes of the nation will turn to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. At AM 560, The Answer will provide gavel-to-gavel coverage each night, beginning at 7 p.m., presented by 120 Life. Hear all of the speeches, and then instant analysis from AM 560's Bruce DeMont, Jeannie Ives, and John Anthony. And they'll be taking your calls with your reaction. Don't miss a moment as the Republicans officially nominate Donald Trump right here on your election station. AM 560, The Answer.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit QuickDelivery.com. That's QuickDelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with QuickDelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, you've heard me say that cell phone service with Pure Talk is half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. $20 a month, you get unlimited talk and text, plenty of data, and you think, okay, Hannity, what's the catch? Well, there isn't one. Just ask the thousands of listeners who have made the switch of mine, and they love Pure Talk and their U.S. customer service, the great coverage on America's most dependable 5G network. Dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE NOW to start saving now on your cell phone plan.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Hi, I'm Donna, and I love taking Balance of Nature. It makes me feel sparkly every single day. It's just an amazing product.
I'm Rick. I'm in the best shape of my life. I play a lot of golf. I work out and ride my bike. I'm 63 and I can still almost hit a golf ball 300 yards. I mean, when I'm in the gym, I can do 90-pound dumbbells. That's what I did when I was young. As long as I'm living, I'll keep taking my Balance of Nature.
Time's ticking on your summer savings. Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 50% off your first set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Don't miss out. This week's your last chance to claim this offer. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this limited time offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Quick Delivery Service. Ground delivery when you need it from safe, licensed professionals. Go to quickdelivery.com now to schedule your delivery. Outbound Edens, major trouble out to Lake Cook Road. It's entirely shut down right now. Solid traffic from Pratt up to the accident site near Old Orchard. Traffic forced off at Old Orchard. Now, a truck there has been uprighted, and they are sweeping up debris from that overturned accident. But the outbound Edens, stay off if you can. It is a mess this morning. Kennedy on the inbound side, not too bad. 50 into the Circle interchange. And again, I-55 remains shut down in Will County near Shanahan in both directions with those power lines that have to be restrung and the work on the area terminals as well. Jane Addams, we're seeing delays eastbound between Meacham and Route 53 and a slow ramp to southbound 53 this morning. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Breezy and less humid. Periods of clouds and sun today. The high at 81. Patchy clouds this evening. Low 61. Sunny, breezy, nice day tomorrow. The high 75. Sunny and pleasant Friday. The high 82. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
70 at O'Hare. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So on Monday, Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle said what happened on Saturday, the assassination attempt on President Trump, the murder of a Pennsylvania firefighter, that was a failure. No question about it. And the buck stops with her. Although on Monday, there was also some insinuations that were attempted that it was local law enforcement's fault, which is a bit of a problem that she doesn't have sort of message control of her agency either, because you have retired Secret Service agents, including those we've spoken with on the show, said Secret Service has control of that environment. Everybody is subordinated to their directives, and so it is Secret Service's responsibility, full stop. So that didn't sit well with people. And then yesterday, she talked about the roof of the building in question.
Yeah, she said that it was too dangerous to position snipers on that sloped roof.
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof. And so, the decision was made to secure the building from inside.
Do you plan to stay on? Absolutely.
I do plan to stay on.
The decision was made to secure the building from inside by who? Oh, we don't get that follow-up.
And where the Secret Service snipers were, and they fired the fatal shot that killed the gunman, that roof was sloped even higher than the roof that she's talking about. It was such a lame blank excuse.
Well, the slope of the roof actually doesn't matter that much to me, because the point is, whether you're guarding that position from inside or on top of the roof, how do you let somebody who's not supposed to be there gain access to it? He climbed up. So where were the people guarding that building? And the other part, which is just continues to roil me, because we've seen this government accountability theater before. The decision was made. It made itself, or somebody made it? Give us some specifics on the conversations through the chain of command for reportedly the half hour that both Secret Service and local law enforcement, not to mention many of the rally goers, had eyes on this shooter. No, we don't get any of that. And one wonders if we ever will. Well, it won't be to the benefit of Secret Service or the FBI if we don't. Let me just say that. For more on the topic, we're pleased to be joined by Tim McCarthy, who was a retired Secret Service agent who took a bullet for President Reagan. He's also the former Orland Park police chief. Tim McCarthy, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Nick.
Good morning. So Ali Mayorkas said on Monday, that Secretary of Homeland Security, he has 100% confidence, 100%, in both Secret Service and in Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle. Do you, after Saturday?
Well, I've heard some things that are very troubling. That bother me quite a bit. As you pointed out, the Secret Service has total and complete responsibility and authority for the protection of their protectees, in this case, former President Trump. Regardless of what perimeter was set, it made no difference. The area needed to be secured. It wasn't secured. Whether it took a person on top, a drone, or any other technique, it should have been accomplished. They had counter sniper, and now we're hearing a little bit about a possible Iranian plot. So they recognize they had high ground problem. Well, when you have a high ground problem, you need to secure it. Now, you don't have to secure miles away, but you have to secure those areas that have a line of sight. They didn't. The story of the roof being a little too steep, I'm a little embarrassed by that because we were trained to take a bullet, yet not stand on a roof that might have a little tilt to it. So there's a lot of unexplainable things here so far. There's a communications issue that has to be addressed, a number of things. So they need to get an investigation done quickly. I am a bit skeptical like you. I'm a bit skeptical of, first of all, who is going to do it. I have no idea. I haven't heard that. All they talk about is an independent investigation, but I haven't heard yet. So I'm a bit embarrassed, frankly, by what happened there, that a 20-year-old kid could get up on a building and take a shot at a former president of the United States, soon to be the Republican nominee. A lot of things went wrong. They need to be upfront and honest about it, and whatever changes need to be made should have been made yesterday. But frankly, this was a no-brainer. This was basic security techniques, basic, nothing out of the ordinary. Our history shows us we have two main threats for assassins. The historic assassin being the lone gunman that gets close to the protectee. We've largely solved that with metal detectors. It's been a half a century since the lone gunman got close. And then with JFK, of course, we had the sniper. We know that. That was a second. So those are the two greatest threats. And for whatever reason, it wasn't covered. There's nothing complicated about it at all. Should be no finger pointing. I've been both federal and local, as you know, and Secret Service can't do it without the assistance of all of the local police departments. But this is the basics. This is the basics. There's absolutely no excuse for this whatsoever.
But so we talked yesterday on the phone. You said that, what you just mentioned, that Secret Service always has to work with local law enforcement. And according to reports, the Butler Township Police were in charge of the perimeter. So, but doesn't Secret Service tell them, like, we need to get on top of each building here? Because there weren't a lot of buildings. There was only 6 buildings, but the one where he shot from was only 130 yards to Trump. There could have been some agreements to that effect, that you're going to cover this building, but it's more detailed than that. It's not that just you're going to cover the building. It's how are you going to cover the building? And then after that, when the security is in place, prior to the event taking place, you check all the posts to make sure that they're covered. Are all the metal detectors being covered, all the access points being covered. So it's a team effort, don't get me wrong. But Secret Service still has responsibility to make sure it was covered. And no one seems to know how it was covered. I hear now the building was secured somehow. The only way to secure those buildings is to put someone on the building or eyes on it full time. The counter sniper team, their head's on a swivel, 360 degrees looking around. Though they did their advance, they plotted ranges, they plotted elevation and so forth. But their head is on a swivel looking at a number of locations. So I don't know what they knew. And there's a lot of communications that we're going to need to be looked at. What people knew, when they knew it. The only thing I heard was when the shots were fired, agents responded and did a good job in that respect, covered the president, and then they heard the shooter was down. Now, there could have been a second shooter, but I think it was very reasonable for them to move the president out of that area to a safe room, in this case, the armored car. But the covering a high ground that's the basics. Again, high ground, lone gunman. Those are the two historical threats. That's what should be addressed.
Can you explain to us what the rules of engagement are for Secret Service? For example, if a counter sniper has eyes on a shooter, like they perhaps did, I think they did. Perhaps, but let's just say perhaps did on Saturday.
Well, the rules of engagement during my time were no different for a counter sniper team than it is for a police officer on the street. When someone's life is in danger of death or serious harm, they have the authority to use deadly force. They saw a person up there with a weapon. They have the authority to use deadly force. Now, you might get cut hairs if you saw someone up there with a weapon but not aimed at anyone. I had the unfortunate experience way back when doing an advance in New York, long before the president was coming down Fifth Avenue, that a gun was seen out the window of out of a window of a high-rise. Turned out to be a young man with his pellet gun with a scope. So the counter sniper response team got there, broke into the apartment, and found out it was just a young kid. But the threat wasn't there quite yet. But once that rifle is exposed, aimed in any single direction, the rules of engagement are just as clear for a patrolman in a police department as they are for a counter sniper team.
So then, I mean, the reporting by CBS News the other day, you probably saw, was, and there's a lot of video to substantiate this, that different people, including law enforcement, were chatting about this guy, had eyes on this guy for upwards of a half an hour before he was on the roof opening fire. So much so that at some point, perhaps right before he opened fire, and this maybe expedited it, a law enforcement officer climbed up, got up on the roof and confronted him, and then either retreated or fell back. Conflicting reports on that. But so how can you have eyes on him for a half an hour and be talking about him and not monitoring his every movement to the point where you prevent accessing the roof, or if somehow he does get to the roof, then you're ready to go before he shoots?
Well, I understood that this individual was spotted early on by the metal detectors. Now, I don't know a whole lot more about it than you do. And they put it out to everyone to a bolo, basically, be on the lookout for this person. They didn't find him. The police officers that climbed up on the building, the way I understand it, somehow pulled themselves up.
Mm-hmm.
One officer in particular, a gun was largely shoved in his face, and not surprisingly, he fell to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you get onto a building, you're going to pull a gun out. Now, then it comes down to communications and what was communicated and when it was communicated. I've heard a lot of the tapes, like you, of pointing out people on the roof. So what did the police know? When did they know it? If it had been related to the Secret Service, if there was time, the former president should have been pulled off the stage immediately until the issue was resolved. So they're going to have to track these communications to see what the police knew, when they knew it, and what did they do.
If you were doing this investigation, or even just in the interests of being a former Secret Service officer and wanting to protect the reputation of the agency, those communications, those radio transmissions during that period of time, or the time leading up to the shooter opening fire, would you make responsibly redacted versions of those public to bring the public along in terms of an understanding of what exactly happened as best we know it, while you're still trying to ascertain other aspects of the investigation, like the shooter's motive?
I don't know if I'd redact it, only because once you do that, people are going to question what you redacted.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly when I would release them. When it wouldn't be before, however, I understood what happened,
mm-hmm.
so that I have that timeline in place, so I don't got to go back and correct it. So yes, I would not redact them, because people would question what was redacted, but I wouldn't do it until it would take that long, until I had them in order and understood the entire timeline, so it makes sense. So I don't have to go back and re-explain it.
But you would make you would make that information public at some point in time when you were confident about your understanding of what happened.
Without a doubt. I've spent 27 years as a chief of police and ran the homicide task force and everything. And we're constantly releasing information, but only when we understood it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's these things happen so quickly. There's so much to it. But release it when you have it right.
Now, recently you had lunch with the Secret Service Director, Kim Cheadle. What is she like? Does she seem competent and up for the job?
Yes, she did. But remember, I had lunch with her for about 2 hours, discussed a little bit about the RNC and DNC, what a challenge it was going to be, both of them being supervised out of the Chicago field office. She was doing a tour with her staff of the DNC first, and then up to the RNC, meeting Chicago police and all the other agencies that they're going to be working with. So it appeared she was asking all the right questions and had good grasp of what the plan was going to be. But again, it was just a 2-hour lunch. I don't think she should judge me or I judge her simply over a 2-hour lunch.
Well, when you were a Secret Service agent, it was under Treasury. Now it's under Homeland Security. God help us. But back then, were there female Secret Service agents?
Oh, yes. When I went back in 72, when I went through the academy and training, there were female agents at that time. And I was on the presidential detail for over 8 years. We had female agents. In fact, agent driving the follow-up car in the day of the Reagan assassination was a female. So they've been parcel of it for a long time.
The issue isn't female agents. The issue is back in your day, were the standards the same for all agents?
As far as I knew, there was no deviation in the standard for anyone, nor should there be.
And I don't know how close you are to Secret Service today, but at some point, did that change? Do you know?
I'm not aware of it changing. I've been reading a little bit about DEI initiatives, but I don't have any evidence whatsoever that the standards were lowered. And if they were lowered, that's absolutely wrong. We all believe in equal opportunity, but we don't believe in unfair advantage either. And to lower the standards, it's not in your interest to lower the standards. Especially in this area of protection, to put people out that you're not putting the best and brightest out there. Are you crazy to do that? I would say so.
Crazy seems to be the new normal. But when this shooting happened on Saturday, did it bring back memories of what happened 43 years ago?
Not so much. It's been a long time. When you go through a critical incident like that, and I bet both of you have gone through something like that, there's a theory that like a third of the people have no reaction in the end, another third moderate, and another third no reaction. I was raised in a police family. My father was a sergeant in the Chicago Police Department. All of our relatives are in law enforcement. Not to say that you expect to be the victim of any violence, but it was a surprise to me. But I was fortunate to recover. And in 3 months, I was back on the job. And President Reagan was a great example. I know have told the story many times when I was leaving the hospital with my wife and kids, and we went up to visit with him for a few minutes, and he was commenting about now how we got armored glass on his windows at the hospital. He's not going to see the cherry blossoms. So we're about ready to leave and going out the door, and the president turned to me and said, "Tim, wait a minute. Listen, it was McCarthy, Brady, Delahanty, Reagan. What the hell did this guy have against the Irish?"
Against the Irish.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, you're being a little modest too. Neither Amy or I have taken a bullet for the president of the United States, so I don't know that we've all been through the same things you've been through, but I appreciate that. Yes, just one other thing about the agency, because we have to talk about this with some perspective. Because we've seen, frankly, a loss of credibility among federal law enforcement and intel agencies over the last 8 years in particular. And that's a problem. I mean, it's a huge problem if half the country doesn't believe that you're in the business of law enforcement, the business you say you're in, and that you're going to administer the law, enforce the law fairly. And you see these institutions become, from many perspectives, myself included, politicized, and when politics takes over, then the mission focus gets a bit blurry. And I wonder if you think that is in part what's happened to Secret Service. Has that agency as an institution, is it diminished in terms of its laser focus on its mission?
Well, it's certainly diminished when you see an event like this take place. But, I have many friends in the FBI, the rank and file, and the Secret Service that are as dedicated or more dedicated than I was. And they all recognize, something at the top is going on. But we are diminished when a 20-year-old kid can climb up on a building and get a shot off. It doesn't look very good. It doesn't look like you even know what you're doing when it's something so simple as that. So, I don't know what it's going to take. We've been, a lot of people, including myself, have been kind of upset with the leadership in many of our federal agencies, how they're applying the laws. how they're doing their job. And I think we all believe that there needs to be some changes. But the rank and file, believe me, there's dedicated a group of people as there is out there. So they're embarrassed by some of these things too. So things need to change. There's no doubt about that. I don't know exactly what those changes are going to be or when they're going to happen. But for those of us that have spent careers, I've been in law enforcement for 50 years, and I certainly don't like seeing this happen to my former agency. But on the same token, we have to recognize that this was a failure. I said that from the moment it took place, because in the Reagan attempt, there was a failure too. When a protectee is injured, it's a failure. Now, does it mean there's a lapse in security? Maybe, maybe not. But nonetheless, you have to take a very critical look at it.
Tim McCarthy, a retired Secret Service agent and former Orland Park police chief as well. Tim, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate your time.
No, you're very welcome.
Thank you so much. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll take a cleansing breath from all things Trump assassination attempt related. Focus local. There's some need for suggestions. The old City Hall suggestion box is open again. Needs some new decorations on the 5th floor around BLM Brandon's office because the Washington statue, not Harold, George, is on the way out. 7:37.
Now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
7:31 on AM 560, The Answer. GOP vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance will be headliner on day 3 of the Republican National Convention. The theme for today, Make America Strong Again. Yesterday, Make America Safe Again. And Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, who didn't formally address the crowd, got a warm reception, including from Texas Senator Ted Cruz, who went on to accuse Democrats of releasing illegal immigrants into the U.S.
We are facing an invasion on our southern border. Not figuratively, a literal invasion.
New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik saying the 2024 election truly the most important, she believes, in our lifetime.
President Trump will once again deliver the most secure border in our nation's history and unleash the American economy. And he will bring peace through strength as commander-in-chief, standing with our allies and causing our enemies to fear us.
Milwaukee police are giving an update about the deadly shooting that occurred near the RNC. Police Chief Jeffrey Norman saying the officers involved were from the Columbus, Ohio Police Department.
Someone's life was in danger. These officers, who are not from this area, took upon themselves to act to save someone's life today.
The incident occurred just outside of the RNC's security zone. President Biden spoke to black voters in Las Vegas at the NAACP convention yesterday. Elon Musk is relocating 2 of his companies from California to Texas, pointing to a new California law that bans schools from telling parents if their child starts using different pronouns. 2 women were wounded here in Chicago, caught in the crossfire of a shooting this morning in the 2900 block of South Dearborn. That 24-year-old woman and a 28-year-old woman were shot and transported to a nearby hospital. The National Weather Service confirming nearly a dozen tornadoes struck northern Illinois and northwest Indiana Monday night. ComEd reports about 74,000 customers remain without power in their service area. And parts of I-55 will remain shut down in Will County through Friday as crews work to clear power lines and entangled vehicles from the roadway in both directions, north and southbound of I-55. Chicago sports, Bear training camp off and looking good right now from a contract perspective as first-round picks Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze reported to Hallis Hall and signed their deals. Veterans report on Friday. Shoto Imanaga and Garrett Crochet's first Major League Baseball All-Star game in the books. Both pitched in the scoreless 4th inning of the junior circuit's 5-3 win over the senior circuit last night. The news, a service of Blue Stars Security. Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you and your business. That's Blue Stars Security, LLC.com. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says times have changed.
People don't trust the election. People don't trust the ballot counters. People don't trust the process. And I kind of think it's my job to point out that we have got procedures in place that are far different from 2020.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
When you're in chronic pain, you're miserable to be around, and so are the people who have to watch you suffer. So stop it. Do something about it. Now's the time to be proactive and take care of yourself. And there's another solution other than surgery or drugs. Call QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics, they have a cutting-edge treatment that revitalizes your joints with your body's own healing process. So if you have arthritis or if you're in pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, back due to an injury, you need to call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation and get your life and mobility back. You know, I've been to one of their clinics. I met a few of their customers. They were smiling from ear to ear, so happy to have their mobility back, pain-free, without surgery. They have locations all across the Chicagoland area, including new locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. Call for a free consultation, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors in Roselle. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. Since 1969, we've been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows. From modern to traditional styles, Marvin replacement windows and doors can bring your backyard right into your living space. Make your home feel brighter and more spacious. Our professional services, along with the best products like Marvin, are why we're proud of our 5-star reviews. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door experts in Chicagoland. Need new windows now? Buy now, pay later with 0% financing for 18 months. Terms and conditions apply. Visit woodlandwindows.com and schedule an appointment today. That's woodlandwindows.com.
Hi, I'm Charlie Moon. I've been in the trading game for almost 20 years, and I just discovered the most powerful trading tool I've ever seen. So if you're trading stocks or options, then listen up. This new AI-powered trade finder can find you stocks to consider trading, which have had gains as high as 1,729% and have had nearly perfect win rates. It analyzes the entire stock market in seconds and pumps out a list of trades for you to consider every single morning. And the trades it finds can be potentially profitable regardless of which direction the market is moving. So if you want in on this action, listen closely. For a short amount of time, I'm opening up free access to some of these picks and giving you the chance to get top trade ideas from the AI Trade Finder every day for 100% free. Just text TRADE to 76626. Stop trying to find the right stocks to trade on your own. Just text TRADE to 76626 now and get access to the top trades our AI finds every single day. Text TRADE to 76626. Standard text and data rates may apply. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Text TRADE to 76626.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
7:38, a check on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. I-80 Will County eastbounders, you're jammed up Shepley to I-55. The Reagan I-88 eastbound jams up right at the Tri-State this morning, while the Tri-State itself is slow between Roosevelt and the Eisenhower Expressway. On the Edens this morning, they're reopening things slowly after they have uprighted a truck that spilled a lot of seed on the roadway. The truck is off on the side. The earlier accident cleaned up, but big delays remain outbound on the Edens between Peterson and Old Orchard. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Breezy and less humid, periods of clouds and sun today. High 81, currently 71. Your next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So BLM Brandon, he's got a lot going on right now. Obviously prepping for the DNC next month. Big moment for him and his on again, off again, big buddy, big brother, Jelly Belly.
No, yeah, they're going to get ready. The whole world will be watching to make sure Chicago's safe, to see what their messaging is, yada, 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 who's going to speak first, all the drama surrounding this.
Your former cohort, Marion Ahern, tweeted out yesterday, George Washington's statue on the 5th floor of Chicago City Hall is being removed. It's being removed from the hallway outside the mayor's office as we make updates to some areas around City Hall, according to a spokeswoman for BLM Brandon.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line.
Now, what should replace that George Washington statue? Now, and I assume this is at the behest of the George Washington family estate that that they don't want the statue on the 5th floor. I mean, it makes about as much sense to have a George Washington statue in City Hall as it would at Buckingham Palace, right? I mean, you have people that don't share the same viewpoint on America there. So why would you want to memorialize him in City Hall? But obviously some replacements come to mind, but we'll take any suggestions. We'll pass them along to the mayor. He likes to hear from the people. Man of the people he is. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro, answer line.
Well, I just think he should be proactive and just put a statue of himself up. Because remember, he said to people, he's like, I'm not going anywhere. I don't plan on retiring for another 30 years.
So
he actually thinks that, he's going to be in office repeately, which I think
it's two on the nose.
What do you mean? Really? What about Stacey Davis?
Statue of himself.
A statue of Stacey Davis Gates.
Think of the
true warrior.
Yeah. No, that's not doing it for me. I mean, he is BLM Brandon.
Okay.
Black Lives Matter Brandon, defund the police Brandon.
Better, stronger, safer Chicago Brandon.
Inspired by George Floyd. The George that should replace George Washington, obviously George Floyd. I mean, we should do some facsimile. They've got George Floyd Square in Minneapolis. We should do some sort of facsimile tribute to him at City Hall. I mean, this is somebody that informs their worldview. That incident is indicative of so much about America, so they say, and then they have a particular perspective on that. We heard that from General Secretary Joe before the NAACP in Las Vegas yesterday. If you are opposed to a former president being assassinated in Pennsylvania, then you also have to be opposed to all violence, including the violence inflicted upon George Floyd, for example. Those are moral equivalences in the mind of General Secretary Joe, and I'm sure at least moral equivalences in the mind of BLM Brandon, wouldn't you say? Now, Chris on the South Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Just two comments. One, they should put a statue of Stalin next to the mayor's office, since the government's so communist now. And two, I got an email because I had to pay FAFSA for my kids in college, and it's batting the Republican Party for not allowing the kids to get as much money off as they can. So the government is so broken, they just put a statue of Stalin up there. That's all it is now anyway.
Thanks for the call. Yeah, maybe General Secretary Joe and General Secretary Joe, the current General Secretary of the American Communist Party, as the Democrats have gone full Soviet, and then, hearkening back to a better time when the Bolsheviks ushered in an era of Stalinism.
I mean, that statue's been there for decades. I see it every time you go to City Hall, every time you go to a press conference, It's a beautiful statue. It's very heavy. What tax dollars are going to pay to remove that?
Out with the old.
Should we be focused on something else, like maybe crime?
Out with the old, in with the new. This is a revolution that's afoot here. It's a revolution. Let's join in. Let's be helpful. You don't want to be on the wrong side of the revolution, do you? It didn't work well for those that were on the wrong side of the revolution in Russia or France, just FYI.
I have a funny to make. How about putting the Christopher Columbus statues back there?
I mean,
those things they said they're going to give them back.
I don't think that's the direction they're going to take it, but sure, it's an idea.
We still have that eyesore, though. If you're driving down Lakeshore Drive, you see it. The remaining parts of the Columbus statue wrapped up, mummified.
White supremacist Nick Spizzato said, when does this stop? The redoing everything and eliminating everything. I just don't get it. He's George Washington. He risked everything. We are who we are because of this man. He was just a honky who owned slaves, as far as I understand it. That's the sum total of the history you need to know about George Washington in modern America, right? Certainly modern Chicago and Illinois. Where's Jelly Belly, his buddy, to weigh in on this? And I do mean weigh.
Hey-o. And I just love how Mayor Johnson, he's not addressing his reasoning or explaining plans for the replacement. They're just, as you mentioned, making some updates to some areas around City Hall. We're going to change the curtains. Oh, by the way, remove that statue. That we don't care. He was the first president. He might have owned slaves. So
Ronnie Reese is BLM Brandon's comms director. We're just freshening up the space, making it a bit more current.
Dan, we want an open concept, okay?
We
don't want to be distracted.
There's a lot of Chicago icons who would be deserving of statues as well. We should be considering that also. Ida B. Wells, DuSable, Harold Washington.
Are you going to put a pink teddy on it? Hey-o.
It's that's blasphemy.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Just
Jane Byrne. What about Jane Byrne? Oh, no, we already changed the Jane Byrne interchange.
Freshening up the space. Exactly. Making it a little current. It's so dated.
Well, here's the thing. If you're going to remove it, be a man up, and tell us why you're removing it. Don't give us some bull jive like, we're making some, we're freshening up the joint. That's such a pea-hat excuse. God, I'm so sick of this administration. Ugh, they're just children. They don't know what they're doing.
Now, there is a report that the city is nixing the plans, reversing course in the decision to remove the statue because Nick Spizzato complained about it. But,
I don't think that's going to... They're saying that right now because, maybe we should be focusing on crime. But they're still going to remove that.
And they'll do it quietly, like Daley taking out Meigs Field. Deborah, Arlington Heights.
Well, let's lighten it up. And speaking of childish humor, how about a statue of the Hamburglar? I think it would be appropriate.
All right, thanks, Deborah.
This is the second time we have referenced the Hamburger on the show. First time being an outfit that Nikki Haley wore during the campaign trail.
Kevin, Ogden Dunes, Indiana.
Oh, this is the Prime Minister of Ireland, and I've been in on these decisions that are happening on the 5th floor of City Hall. And, they're removing Dishwashington because changes must be made. And we're going, my recommendation, the mayor hasn't decided, but my recommendation is that they bring in the unsung sidekick of Muddy Waters, the great blues guitarist, Dirty Dishes.
Oh, boy.
Are you familiar with his work, Dirty Dishes?
How about Chicago Party Ant?
Oh, that's
right. We forgot about Chicago Party
Ant. He's now on the Bear.
He's on the Bear?
Yeah. He was going to come on the show, but they wouldn't let him. So I was all lined up. You could call me Amy J.
Second season of the Bear he's on?
It's the third season now.
As the third?
Thank you. Yeah, he's the main character's brother-in-law.
Huh. All right, well, good for Chicago Party. Even more reason to put a statue of him or her up. Ralph and Rantoul.
Hey, good morning, Dan and Amy. Yeah, this is kind of related, but with this stupidification of the general population, the wiping out of history, getting rid of statues. Valparaiso University just announced that they're signing with the city colleges of Chicago so that the illiterate, unlearned coming out of the city colleges of Chicago with an associate's degree will go straight into Valpo without any sort of hesitation. Now Valpo's losing money, and I don't understand how taking in the dregs coming out of the city colleges of Chicago, who are probably not going to pay their own way because they're talking about giving scholarships to these people. I know that it's important to have head count up to universities, but if you continue to increase head count at net losses when you're a tuition-based university, I don't really get how that
Well, wait. I would assume the federal government would pay the freight there, and that's what Valpo is looking at, right?
I don't know if they will. Maybe that's in the backs of their minds. But if they're going to get Fed money for that, or loans, or some other sort of grant or help, but generally speaking, they're going to lose money on every single one of these people. And I can imagine that the IQ and the performance of incoming student bodies is just going to continue to slide.
Well, no question.
It's going to look like
that's
Western,
part of the, and that's why these morons want to erase history. Just keep making the general population stupider and more ignorant, and you get more BLM Brandons run places.
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Text from 312. A transgender version of David. Oh, Michelangelo's David, but he has a vagina instead of a penis.
Okay.
Well, hey, what?
You're right. I mean, we've got to be.
I mean, I'm just saying that's
right,
a suggestion.
Yeah.
That would be very.
I could see that happening. It's
that
very
would
feasible.
That would definitely freshen up the place. Out with the old, David having a penis, in with the new.
What about putting like an artistic sculpture made by a CPS student?
Sure. George in Naperville.
Yeah, Dan, why don't they put that Picasso sculpture in there? That always confused everybody.
Sure. Thanks for the call. Take it from
I've
the
been
Daily
staring
Center.
at that thing for 50 years.
I don't know if it would fit. They may have to, put
an artist rendition, a smaller version of it.
They may have to put like a sliding roof on the fifth floor in order to get that. But okay. Brian, Lansing, Illinois. Of course, Lansing, Illinois.
Morning. I was going to say everything Daly. You would have to put up another statue to honor the Dalys, but you brought up the transgender thing. Why not put that picture of Harold Washington back up in City Hall?
Yeah, again, blasphemy. Thanks for the call there.
Leave him alone, man.
Bill Daley, too. Speaking of Daley, Bill Daley not happy about BLM Brandon's criticism of alleged disinvestment, the years of honky control of the city, the Irish, saying that's unfair and BLM Brandon's being mean. I hate when one class of grifters, or one clan of grifters really, gets upset with the other clan of grifters when they're both running the same game, just to the benefit of different people. I hate that. There's enough grift to go around for all of the identitarian clans in Chicago. Come on now, guys. Can I raise another issue too?
Yes, please.
Just because I was made aware of this by a firefighter on Saturday night at the retirement party I went to down at Baracco's in Mount Greenwood. There's a DJ booth at the Red Line stop at 95th and the Dan Ryan.
Oh, yeah. And they were going to have some rave party, too, on the Red Line, and they finally put the kibosh on it. They were selling tickets for $50. But, yeah, there's entertainment. Trying to get people to take the CTA. Let them know, you're safe. Come on. Dance a little before you get on the death train.
There's a dance party on the platform, the Red Line platform at 95th and Dan Ryan. That's what they're doing. And we paid for a DJ booth to be installed there?
Yeah.
Does anybody else find that strikingly bizarre?
Do you want to go down and dance after the show?
When do they put an orchestra pit in the metro stop in Indian Hill? I mean, what is this?
Well, we're in clown world, Dan, so we might as well just keep going.
There's a DJ booth at a Red Line stop.
Well, you used to wear parachute pants, and weren't you a...
Are they going to pay the Bodines to be at the stop in Lakeview? What? What? Frank in Lamont, you're in Chicago's Morning Answer.
Guys, this is so simple.
a statue of the great Saul Alinsky holding 2 tablets like Moses with the rules for radicals imprinted on each and embossed in the rainbow colors.
That's very nice. That's modern art. That's current. Very good.
Here's a little history.
Yeah, that's very good.
It was purchased by B.F. Ferguson Fund in 1925, and the statue's
the
on loan
DJ
from,
booth?
No, this is the George Washington statue. It's been there since 1925 on loan from the Art Institute of Chicago. Okay.
Well, that was
we're
back
just
when
going to give it back to them?
Well, that was back when the Art Institute was white supremacist, too, before they fired all of those North Shore docents. Got rid of those. Make it current. Got a bunch of people in there who don't know anything about art, but they're diverse. Bob in LaPorte, Indiana. Bobby.
Yeah, how about not wasting all taxpayers' money playing with statues and stuff and concentrate on the crime? They had all those people that got shot over the 4th of July weekend, and they're worrying about statues.
Bobby, it was Nixon's fault. Thanks for the call.
That's right.
Greg in Schaumburg.
Running out of Republicans to blame.
No brainer. Lightfoot in the Halloween costume, the Rona Buster.
Yes! Carrying a case of Modelo. Just for Justin.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Well, it would have to be Lightfoot and Arwadi, both of them, because they were Corona Busters. Don't forget about Arwadi. Fluky Stokes has been called.
Fluky Stokes.
Yeah, not a bad idea. I can see that. All right. Well, we'll collect these and send those over to the 5th floor. We'll let you know what we hear back.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Conveyors keep your products moving, but when they break down, it can cost your company time and money. If you need help with conveyors, call a company that has the expertise and capability to help.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, president of Vans Industrial. I've got over 40 years of personal experience in dealing with conveyors and their related parts. At Vans, we install and maintain all types of conveyors, including screw conveyors, belt conveyors, drag conveyors, and bucket elevators. And if you need related conveyor chutes, drives, guards, or dust collection, we can design and install all of these components for your conveyor system.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics insured at the highest levels to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND to schedule your conveyor inspection today. That's 833-VANSIND. Visit them online at vansindustrial.com. That's VANSindustrial.com. Vans Industrial, working safe since 1964.
Guys, it's summer and time to do more outdoors, but do you feel out of energy, lacking motivation and mental focus? It could be low testosterone. Low T affects millions of men, and it happens naturally. The solution? Testosterone replacement therapy at Low T Center. It starts with a quick test, and the results are fast. Don't wait. Take control of your health. And now Low T Center is offering a free initial test. So if you're over 30, schedule a visit at lowtcenter.com today. That offer is good until July 31st. lowtcenter.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Let's see. If something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for health care can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
AM 560, The Answer.
Man, I keep that casket that Fluky Stokes was in.
The Cadillac.
Yeah, and he was sitting upright almost, holding a wad of cash, wearing a finest hat and suit.
That's perfect.
It's a classic.
Definitely deserves to be memorialized on the 5th floor of City Hall. No question about it.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, we'll talk to Susan Crabtree, RealClearPolitics.com's national political correspondent, about what else? The presidential race and the RNC this week. the upcoming DNC. That's all at 8:08.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
We may need to change our statues at the U.S. Capitol, too. We've got two kind of no-names that we may need to replace a little later on.
Marion Barry?
Francis Willard and James Shields.
Yeah, well.
If you don't know them, use Google. Here's what we're following this morning on AM 560. At least 11 tornadoes struck northern Illinois this week, and a 6-year-old boy dies after falling into the Kankakee River. WIND Chicago News Time.
Uniting around former President Trump. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Let's heed the call of our party's nominee to fight for these United States.
Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, who both ran against the former president, backed him at the convention last night.
You don't have to agree with Trump 100% of the time to vote for him.
Fighting crime, stopping illegal immigration, a focus last night. The theme, Make America Safe Again.
Now, we also heard from everyday Americans last night. That includes the half-sister of Rachel Morin. She's the Maryland mom who was raped and murdered by an illegal alien.
Fox's Bill Maloogian at the convention in Milwaukee.
The theme today is Make America Strong Again. We once again expect to hear from those everyday Americans. One speaker expected tonight is a Jewish alum of Harvard University who is suing the school for discrimination as a result of those anti-Israel protests.
Also tonight, Senator J.D. Vance will speak, accepting the GOP vice presidential nomination. President Biden will address Latino supporters in Las Vegas the day after he told the NAACP convention there that former President Trump's policies were hell for black Americans. But some Democrats are still concerned about the president's mental fitness, considering a replacement candidate. Fox's Ryan Schmelz reports.
A letter has been circulating among congressional Democrats claiming it would be a terrible idea for the DNC to move forward with a virtual roll call to nominate President Biden as early as next week, well before the party convention that starts on August 19th. The Biden campaign has defended the plan as a way to ensure President Biden stays on the ballot in all 50 states.
However, a pre-convention ballot issue in Ohio has since been resolved. President Biden is considering reforming the Supreme Court, including a new code of ethics and also calling for term limits on justices, which would require congressional approval. America's listening to Fox News.
Sunshine, 71 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer, good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 2 women wounded after being caught in the crossfire of a Bronzeville shootout early this morning. A 24-year-old woman and 28-year-old woman were wounded and hospitalized. The National Weather Service confirms that nearly a dozen tornadoes struck northern Illinois and northwest Indiana. ComEd reports about 70,000 customers remaining without power this morning, and parts of I-55 will remain shut down as late as Friday in Will County near Shanahan as crews work to clear power lines and vehicles entangled in downed power lines from both north and southbound 55. The I-55 closure is having some global implications as well. Just east, one of the most critical trucking and logistic hubs in the nation, and nearby, one of the nation's largest inland ports. A 6-year-old boy is dead after falling into the Kankakee River. The victim went into the water at Beckman Harbor to retrieve a ball. The river has been swollen due to recent rains. Mayor Brandon Johnson appears to be changing his mind on removing the George Washington statue from outside City Hall for now. Alderman Nicholas Pizzato saying the statue wasn't coming down overnight. The statue's been in place since 1984. Bears off to a good start in training camp, signing their first-round picks ahead of opening day. Caleb Williams and Romo Dunze reported yesterday signing their deals. Rookies are in town while the Bears veterans report on Friday. The news service of health insurance mentors, Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you will ever have. Call Stephen Tucker today for free Medicare advice, 630-674-1551 or healthinsurancementors.com. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Stuart Varney, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Citizens Financial Group shares are narrowly higher after the company's earnings matched expectations and it made more money from its capital markets, wealth, and card businesses. U.S. Bancorp shares are higher after its quarter topped expectations. Johnson & Johnson's earnings and revenue both top forecast, but J&J has lowered expectations for this year, and the stock is lower. Spirit Airlines is lowering expectations for its quarter because it's making less from baggage fees, food, and other charges not included in ticket prices. Drug maker Roche is reporting positive results in early tests of a weight loss pill. The market is currently dominated by Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, which make injectable medications. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Posola, invested in you.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
This week, the eyes of the nation will turn to Milwaukee for the Republican National Convention. At AM 560, The Answer will provide gavel-to-gavel coverage each night, beginning at 7 p.m., presented by 120 Life. Hear all of the speeches, and then instant analysis from AM 560's Bruce DeMont, Jeannie Ives, and John Anthony. And they'll be taking your calls with your reaction. Don't miss a moment as the Republicans officially nominate Donald Trump right here on your election station. AM 560, The Answer.
Hey folks, I just can't help thinking of our stress levels. And high blood pressure is the number one key risk factor for mortality. In fact, 1 in 2 Americans walking around have high blood pressure. That's a ticking time bomb. But thankfully, it's never been easier to take control of your blood pressure. With 120 Life, a truly remarkable natural juice blend that can actually help you lower your blood pressure without the side effects of taking pills every day. 120 Life is formulated with scientifically backed ingredients from superfruits, berries, and minerals that have been shown to naturally help control high blood pressure. And it works. It's endorsed by over 70 health professionals, and I assure you, that's not fake news. I use it myself. I love it. You can try it for yourself risk-free with their 2-week trial. Just go to 120 Life and use the coupon code LIBERTY to save 15% and receive free shipping. If 120 Life doesn't help lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they give you your money back. It's guaranteed. Go to 120life.com. That's 120life.com. Go to 120life.com today.
My name is Dr. Dave Anspaugh. I have co-authored a wellness textbook, which was the #1 bestseller. And I do about anything that I want to do. I still take care of my own lawn, and I go to the health club. We'll go 2-3 miles on the treadmill there. I've been taking Balance of Nature about 6 years. It has convinced me that it's a great product. I enjoy playing golf. I will go out there and go down to the green and go back and do it once or twice more. Seems like being retired, I've got more going on than I did when I was actually working. I stay active. You know, I do about anything I want to do. As long as I'm breathing the air, I'm going to be taking Balance of Nature.
Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 50% off with your first set as a preferred customer. While supplies last, go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751. This week is your last chance to claim this offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, you've heard me say that cell phone service with Pure Talk is half the cost of Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. $20 a month, you get unlimited talk and text, plenty of data, and you think, okay, Hannity, what's the catch? Well, there isn't one. Just ask the thousands of listeners who have made the switch of mine, and they love Pure Talk and their U.S. customer service, their great coverage on America's most dependable 5G network. Dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE NOW to start saving now on your cell phone plan.
8:09 and a check on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is a service of Windy City Safes, Chicagoland's only Liberty Safe dealer. With Liberty Safes, you're not just getting a safe, you're getting peace of mind. Visit the Niles Showroom, 224 Lockbox, or online at windycitysafes.com. Finally, the outbound Edens returning to normal from that much earlier accident near Old Orchard. Just normal delays now, Peterson to Gulf Road. Now the Kennedy getting heavy, 70 in, O'Hare into the Circle interchange. The ice solid between 17th and Holman. It's 1 hour into the old post office. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Breezy and less humid, periods of clouds and sun today, the high at 81. Patchy clouds this evening, low 61. Sunny, breezy, nice day tomorrow, the high 75. Sunny and pleasant Friday, the high 82. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
71 and sun. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So there were several speakers at day 2 of the RNC that focused on the specific theme last evening, which was to make America safe again, make America strong again. You heard from family members, poignant stories from family members who had been victimized by Biden's open borders policies, essentially. Mm-hmm. A California mom whose son was poisoned by fentanyl.
You had Rachel Morin's half-sister. She spoke on her behalf.
As well as sort of the general lawlessness of non-prosecution, decarceration, defund the police, prosecutors in places like New York and Chicago and L.A. That's specifically called out by Madeleine Brame, whose son served our country honorably overseas in Afghanistan, was killed on the streets of New York, and the perpetrators under-prosecuted, to say the least, by Alvin Bragg there. We know that all too well with Kim Foxx in Cook County. But it was Marco Rubio who had an appeal to the larger theme of the Trump candidacy. Frankly, a theme that hasn't changed in the past 8 years, despite every effort by the uniparty, if you will, to alter the course of Trump and Trump's electoral prospects.
There is absolutely nothing dangerous or anything divisive about putting Americans first. Who do we come from? We come from pioneers who ventured west to chase their dreams, and slaves who overcame bondage to claim their right to the promise of America. We come from exiles who fled tyranny in search of freedom, and of immigrants who left behind all they had and knew because they could not be or achieve God's purpose for their life in the nation of their birth. That is an American. And putting Americans first must be what this election is about. The only way to make America wealthy and safe and strong again is to make Donald J. Trump our president again.
There you go. And there's the money line. So that was not inconsistent with what other Republicans vanquished in primaries by Donald Trump said, including, of course, Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley most recently, who spoke yesterday as well. For more on this and other matters, including her reporting on the failed assassination attempt on President Trump over the weekend, I'm pleased to be joined by Susan Crabtree, who is RealClearPolitics.com's national political correspondent, and she is in Milwaukee at the convention. Susan, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You know, I mean, I suppose were it not for the failed assassination attempt, which is not something that is inconsequential, what we've heard so far at the convention is not dissimilar to what we heard 4 years ago or even 8 years ago. It really is, it's almost striking that, yes, some of the names are changed, The stories really haven't that much. Obviously, challenging an incumbent presents some, peculiarities different than 4 years ago or 4 years before that. But I mean, Trump's presence the last 8 years, it's been the message that Marco Rubio basically delivered last night, hasn't it?
Yeah, I absolutely thought with some new faces that were really emerging from the party, Vivek Ramaswamy, I felt like he had the best speech of the night, really brought down the house, and he was basically telling the new generation of voters that if you really want to be radical, if you really want to be a hippie, actually embrace this movement, want to get married, have children, develop your Christianity or your religious commitment, and that will make you a rebel at your universities. I thought he did a really good job in terms of immigration too. He said, we are a party of immigrants. We're not pushing them away. It's just that you have to come here legally. He was a very dynamic speaker, and really enjoyed him. And also, Sarah Huckabee Sanders looked more stunning last night, and she was really appealing to the voters that Trump has some problems with in suburban women voters. And she put on a wonderful face for it. Had some funny lines, and it was a good speech.
I love the story how she said her 4-year-old son came to work and Trump leaned down because he was running right for Trump, and Trump, being the nice man he is, got on his knees to hug him, and then he blew past him and ran into his mother's arms.
Yeah, the leader of the free world he didn't matter at that particular moment. He just, motherhood matters. It was a cute moment, and you had this dynamic. The one thing I really noticed throughout this week is sort of a changed composure, at least, of Donald Trump since the assassination attempt. Obviously, even Don Jr. is tears in his eyes. They wanted to do a reset. Chris LaCivita and Susie Wiles, Trump's top aides, campaign aides running the campaign, really wanted him to have this be a reset moment and focus on unity. And it's a different tone than I've ever experienced. We'll see how he channels that on the final night, the former president himself. But it's very positive, and it's not angry.
And by contrast, I mean, Biden is trying to round off the edges. But, for example, in his remarks at the NAACP convention in Vegas yesterday, and then the interview he did with Black Entertainment Television, he really can't. They're sort of in a box in so many ways. They're in a box in terms of personnel. They're in a box in terms of message, too, because the theory has been, the entirety of his campaign, we have to make Donald Trump box office poison. We have to vilify him, Hitlerize him as much as possible so that it's a referendum on Trump and people reject Trump. It can't be a referendum on me because that's not the path to victory. And now they're stuck. They're stuck with a guy that at least some of them don't want, and a message that they sort of realize they can't sell.
Well, they can't sell the democracy, that Trump is a threat to democracy, when they are not using the democratic process to, it appears that they're going to depart from the normal democratic process to try to elect a new nominee. There's still a movement afoot. So how can they be saying that the Republican Party is a threat to democracy when they are rejecting the nomination process that got them Joe Biden, and are shuffling around to look for a more viable candidate?
Right. I mean, the Trump Vance ticket is solidified, but the Biden Harris ticket is still up in the air, and Harris might end up on top of that.
Well, what really is the status of that? Because I mean, Biden is doing an effective job of being ubiquitous now, right? He's doing all these interviews. He's on the trail. He's sort of crowding out a lot of at least public conversation about a replacement, and trying to present himself as he said with Lester Holt the other night, having command of his faculties, which is an odd thing for a president to have to say. And so, it seems to me that the failed assassination attempt on Trump puts Biden front and center, giving national addresses. He's out campaigning now. It seems to be the Trump Biden binary again. How much? What percentage do you give the prospect of replacing Biden?
Well, it's interesting that Axios it was a Politico, is out with a new poll this morning, and they're saying that Biden, other alternatives to Biden are doing better than Biden. Finally, we're seeing that in the polls, that there is a shift, and people are. The article predicted that they would move after they're letting the Republicans have their convention, and then as soon as that dies down, you're going to see a resurgence of this idea to get another person on the ticket. And interestingly enough, some of the main contenders, Gavin Newsom was not among those names that they were suggesting. Gretchen Whitmer was, and Josh Shapiro was, but some of the regular suspects are falling off because of the obvious problems with California and the collapse of that state. California has never produced a vice president or president for the Democratic Party in modern history, ever.
Well, here's the other thing now, too. But Gavin Newsom's out there. I'm all in for Biden, and others are saying that sort of too. And Bernie Sanders wrote a response op-ed to George Clooney's op-ed. And it's all very muddled. But the other thing now is, after that failed assassination attempt, if you're Josh Shapiro or even Gretchen Whitmer, or maybe even Kamala Harris, do you really want to run into this buzzsaw? You may in some polling be doing slightly better than Biden, but I've seen some polling on these other candidates that they're not doing very well. And I actually saw Kamala's down 10 in Georgia, where Biden's down 3 in recent polling. But do you really want to run into this buzzsaw and end your political career here?
No, it's a political calculus. A lot of them want Biden to go down with the ship, and run again. They want to run again in 2028.
Right.
Or run in 2028. They want to be on that ticket. So a fresh start. But that's sort of expedient. If you care about your party, don't you want to get in and try to save it?
Well,
I think.
Yeah, but it's what they say publicly versus what we really know about their ambitions, and it's their ambitions that drive their decision making, not their pro forma statements publicly about, I care about the party, I want to save democracy. But it can wait 4 years. I'll save it in 4 years.
So then Trump is not as much of a threat as you're saying to democracy.
Right.
Well, and then there's a report this morning.
You're heading for the hills.
Yeah, sorry for interrupting. A report this morning from the Puck saying that an hour before the assassination attempt, Biden held what they call disastrous Zoom call with moderate Democrats. There were 50 of them. They said, quote, it was even worse than the debate, that he stumbled through answers. He was rambling. He'd start an answer, then lose his train of thought, then just say whatever. As he lost, what he was talking about. So
he also said that staff passed him a note that said, "Stay positive, and you are sounding defensive," and he read it out loud.
Oh dear Lord! And they said yes, and one congressman said Trump. There'd not been an assassination attempt on Trump. Those 50 people were ready to come out publicly against him.
The 50 people he talked to in the New Democrats.
Yeah, all the Democrats said he was on that Zoom call. They were about to come out publicly, but then the assassination attempt happened.
I don't know. That was the Congressional Progressive Caucus he was on with, and that's his backstop right now is all those deep leftists, right?
Yeah, you have Jim Clyburn saying, "We're riding with Biden," but he wasn't smiling when he said it. Mm-hmm. So I think he'd be just as happy. How he was so instrumental in getting Kamala on the ticket, to have anyone else, because they know in their heart of hearts that he's not going to be able to do this for maybe any amount of time, if he gets elected. So if he's not viable, if he has to curtail his public schedule every day, and he has to, he's doing that now. What is he going to be like in 1 or 2 years? it just doesn't make any sense.
He shouldn't be in office.
I do think.
now.
Sorry. Go ahead, Susan.
No, I was just saying that the assassination attempt put a hold on everything, but I am hearing, there's rumblings again that they're going to come out. The Democrats are going to come out, like you said. They're just holding their fire right now because there's no reason to be detracting and creating disunity in their party when Republicans are more unified than they ever have been in recent years.
Right, and so, but I mean, if that movement does get restarted after the RNC, I mean, for the people that want to make a change, do they really believe they can install someone other than Kamala?
Well, the money issue, there is a money issue. I wrote a piece saying that certainly Kamala's star is rising, Newsom's star is fading, because they can't get around the whole. We have $250 million, and you're going to take that off the table because it has to go to Kamala or Biden, or else. But then you had that story come out that some of that money, it was like 45 billions. Sorry, not billions.
Million, yeah.
Millions, tens of millions were pledged, and that the donors were going to yank that if they don't replace Biden.
Yeah. Like I said, they've really put themselves in a corner. It's difficult. They're sort of like Schrodinger's cat right now. It's going to be difficult to see how they navigate it will be interesting to see how they navigate this, because it doesn't seem like there is an obvious play for them that improves their prospects. But we shall see. Susan Crabtree, RealClearPolitics.com's national political correspondent, who comes to us from Milwaukee, where she is covering the convention, of course. Susan, thanks for joining us. We'll continue to enjoy your reporting. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. Check out my Secret Service reporting. I've been focused mainly on that this week. Lots of lapses, lots of chaos.
Yep. All right. Thank you so much, Susan. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you a driver of a Ford PowerStroke diesel engine? Tired of taking your Ford PowerStroke diesel in to be misdiagnosed or paying for repairs that don't fix the problem? Well, bring your vehicle to the diesel headquarters, Remke's Garage. The shop is equipped with state-of-the-art diagnostic equipment and highly trained technicians. Take it to the experts. Take it to Remke's Garage. Remke's Garage specializes in Ford PowerStroke, Chevy Duramax, Dodge Cummins, Mercedes Sprinter, and Isuzu diesel engines and transmission repairs. At Remke's, they'll make your vehicle repairs convenient by offering a free commercial loaner vehicle.
Remke's Garage, where you won't spend $1,000 to fix a $100 problem. Call for details and to schedule an appointment at 800-5-REMKES or visit Remke'sGarage.com. Remke's Garage, your diesel headquarters.
All right, is arthritic joint pain keeping you from doing the things you love? Bone-on-bone pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder? Listen, there are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you lasting relief. QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced regenerative medicine. We're talking cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. You know, they've helped thousands of patients, and if you're living with chronic pain from arthritis or an injury, steroid surgery and pain pills are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics can treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore mobility, and give you long-term relief with no downtime. You don't have to take vacation. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are ready to help you get on your feet, get your life back with regenerative, restorative cellular treatments for your achy joints. Don't trust me. Call them for yourselves and get a free consultation now. Saturday appointments available. New locations in Crystal Lake and Gurnee. The number to call is 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
Fruit and vegetable ingredients have never been more convenient.
It's easy for me to recommend Balance of Nature. It's so simple. It's amazing getting the fruits and vegetables ingredients in 3 red and 3 green capsules.
I take Balance of Nature. I think it's a good product. It's convenient. It's a way to start off with a plus. I can do little capsules in the morning and I'm off to work, you know.
I would recommend Balance of Nature. It's so easy to do every day. I really am happy that I came across it. I feel great, and who doesn't want to feel great?
Time's ticking on your summer savings. Splash into your summer with Balance of Nature. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 50% off with your first set as a preferred customer. While supplies last, go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751. This week is your last chance to claim this offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, this is Pastor Calvin from Christian Liberty Academy in Arlington Heights. It is time to get your children and grandchildren out of the godless government schools. How can we subject our loved ones to forced, ungodly psychological examinations and perverse sexual teachings? You would not send your child to a school that teaches 2 + 2 is 5. What is being taught today is far worse and damaging to minds and hearts. We can help through our on-campus Christian school and homeschool program. For over 55 years, we have operated a Christian school now in Arlington Heights, and we have served hundreds of thousands of families across our nation and foreign countries through our homeschool program, Christian Liberty Homeschools. Visit ChristianLiberty.com to learn more or to schedule a tour of our excellent 12-acre facility. Take action today. Visit ChristianLiberty.com, ChristianLiberty.com.
Honey, what are we going to do with your grandparents' old coins and jewelry?
I'm pretty sure they're worth some money.
You've been saying that for years.
Okay, how about PGS Gold and Coin? They're the best when it comes to selling family valuables.
And you know this because...
PGS, when it comes to your valuables, they're the best.
Do that again.
PGS, when it comes to your valuables, they're the best.
Isn't that the place Jeff sold his grandmother's jewelry when she passed?
Yep, he checked out pgsgoldandcoin.com and found tons of positive reviews. He was blown away by how much he got. Do you? Oh, you're already on the site.
Almost. pgsgoldandcoin.com.
PGS Gold and Coin, the upscale way of selling your coins, jewelry, diamonds, and collectibles. Family owned and operated for over 14 years. Rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, now with 4 Chicagoland locations. And they make house calls. 888-416-2701 or pgsgoldandcoin.com.
PGS. When it comes to your valuables, they're the best.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, where did the time go? All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Previewing the last 2 evenings of the convention, tonight and tomorrow, Mark Lauder, former Special Assistant to President Trump, currently Chief Comms Officer for American First Policy Institute, joins us at 8:38.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Dan and Amy at 8:32. Donald Trump's running mate J.D. Vance will headline tonight's speakers on day 3 of the Republican National Convention. The theme for the day, Make America Strong Again. Fox's Christian Goodwin has a recap of day 2.
Pennsylvania Senate candidate Dave McCormick reflecting on the attempt on former President.
Reflect.
Nevada Senate candidate Sam Brown, who served as an Army captain.
It took me back to the same feeling I had when I was overseas, under fire, wearing the uniform, just that pit in my stomach.
Describing what a safe America means to him.
It means that Americans shouldn't be concerned about attacks or threats, either at home that start, domestically or from overseas.
Stressing that includes threats that would come across our borders. From the RNC in Milwaukee, Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Security at the RNC has been ramped up another notch following the recent assassination attempt on the former president. North Florida Republican Congressman Michael Waltz, former Green Beret, saying he's spoken with some of the Secret Service agents who were working the details.
They were frustrated, they were embarrassed, they were angry because according to them, they have repeatedly asked for more resources for Trump and his campaign and have been denied by Secret Service headquarters and by Mayorkas at DHS headquarters.
Waltz believes the former president does need more agents. The 2024 Emmy nominations will be announced today. The unveiling will happen around 10:30 Chicago time. The 76th award ceremony takes place in September. The National Weather Service confirms nearly 24 tornadoes struck northern Illinois and northwest Indiana on Monday night. ComEd tells us 69,000 customers still remain without power in their service area. A 6-year-old boy is dead after falling into the Kankakee River. The child's body pulled from the river yesterday at Beckham Harbor. The victim went into the water to retrieve a bowl. And Chicago Pastor Corey Brooks gave Tuesday evening's benediction at the RNC. Chicago sports. Shota Imanaga and Garrett Crochet's first MLB All-Star game in the books. The pair pitched in the scoreless fourth inning of the Americans' 5-3 win over the Nationals last night. Bears off to a good start in training camp. Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze report and sign their new deals, rookie contracts. As they report to Hallis Hall, Bear veterans will report to training camp on Friday. The news service of Windy City Safes. What are you doing to keep your most prized possessions safe? With Liberty Safes, you're not just getting a safe, you're getting peace of mind. Visit the Niles showroom, call 224-LOCKBOX or online at windycitysafes.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka sees good things.
The reality is they're losing control of the nation and your capacity to swallow the garbage they're trying to promote. It's a good thing, but only if you get engaged. Because in 4 months' time, if not you, then who? If not now, then when?
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for health care can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
As everyone can tell, we're living in turbulent times. During times of uncertainty like World War II and 9/11, people have often turned to God. In times like these, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, Illinois reminds all Americans of the ancient promise found in 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is not a political statement. It's a call to all God-fearing Americans to do as God's word instructs. America needs healing now. Whether you're for the guy on the left or the right or neither, everyone needs to heed the word of God as 2 Chronicles instructs us. May God bless all our leaders and God bless the USA. This message is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins on Route 59, Naperville, Illinois.
8:39, check of the roads, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is a service of USPS Ground Advantage. Every business faces challenges, but shipping shouldn't be one of them. Turn shipping to your advantage with USPS Ground Advantage from the United States Postal Service. Simple, affordable, reliable. Inbound Edens, accident, left lane blocked. Inbound right at Dundee, travel times on the up, about 20 minutes into the junction right now. It's an hour 6 on the inbound Kennedy O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Inbound Ike, solid through the avenues, 1 hour into the old post office. An accident reported on the inbound Stevenson at LaGrange Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Breezy and less humid today with clouds and sunshine, a high of 81. Currently mostly sunny and 73. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Okay. We have NBC affiliate WPXI in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. That Channel 11. Oh, whatever.
The exclusively confirming that the shooter in Butler, Pennsylvania on Saturday was spotted by police hanging around the American Glass Research Complex, that building, more than an hour before the assassination attempt. Multiple law enforcement sources described the security operation in detail Tuesday, directly contradicting public statements from Secret Service Director Cheadle. According to law enforcement sources from this local affiliate in Pittsburgh, there were 2 sniper teams set up near the building where the shooter fired from. However, in direct contrast to the comments made by Cheadle, there were no local police in the same building where where the shooter made it on the roof. So the report was there's a bunch of cops in that building while he's climbing the roof. They're saying no cops in that building, 2 sniper teams around that building or near that building, and he gets access to the roof anyway. They also obtained, it's just unbelievable.
What else?
They also obtained exclusive photos showing the cell phone and some sort of transmitter device found next to the shooter moments after Secret Service shot him and killed him.
Who is he transmitting to?
Don't know. Is it
Gotta
a
find out what's on his phone.
Law enforcement also confirmed that he was spotted by police with a rangefinder. Rangefinder, transmitter. They have eyes on him for a half hour, maybe an hour. They've got 2 sniper teams in the vicinity. He gains access to the roof.
Possible ladder that we know he did buy a ladder at a
Air
hardware
conditioner.
store.
We don't know. The local cop that climbed up to the roof, did he get a gun in his face and he fell backwards and didn't have an opportunity to stop him? Was he on the roof and he retreated? Conflicting reports on that. The question about personnel changes, if and when President Trump is elected to a second term in November. Boy, DHS, Secret Service, FBI, top of the list, I would suspect. Mark Lauder is a former special assistant to President Trump. He's currently the chief communications officer at the American First Policy Institute. Mark, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. How are you?
I don't think you have to be a political savant to say there are leadership changes needed in agencies that have awesome responsibilities for the protection of Americans generally and Americans, including the president specifically.
No, no doubt. And, I think what we have got to get back to is promoting and having people who lead these agencies based on their abilities, based on their experiences, and not based on what boxes they check on some DEI, form. And I want to say very clearly, obviously, I served in the White House. I served with the president and vice president. The men and women of the United States Secret Service will put their lives on the line to protect others, and I honor and respect their service. But at some point, there was a breakdown in this security system that's got to be exposed. I mean, I've seen Secret Service agents who stand out in the rain, in the horrible thunderstorms, in snowstorms, and they don't flinch because it's what they're called to do. To think they can't be on a roof that has a slope. Did you see the roof that the snipers were on? It also had a slope.
Yeah.
But yet President Trump,
lying to us.
Well, President Trump, Melania, Eric Trump, yesterday, they're praising the Secret Service for their work in protecting their father, protecting himself. I mean, do you think that stance is going to change once they learn more information?
No, absolutely not, because I think the men and women who are out there putting their lives on the line in the uniform, whether it's the United States Secret Service, whether it's the local law enforcement who support these efforts, they're doing the hero's work. But we have to have a plan that works. We have to have a system that works. And so to those men and women who are out there, in their uniforms, doing their job to protect these men and everyone who else is around them, they can only do what they're able to do if you have a plan that works. And if there's a glaring hole in that plan that someone who has evil intent can exploit, well, that's where we have to see where did the failings happen in the development of that plan, in the execution of that plan. And so I don't want to fault the men and women who are doing their jobs. I want to fault the people who allowed this weakness to go uncovered.
We were just talking to Susan Crabtree from RealClearPolitics.com about Biden's prospects to remain the nominee of the Democrat Party after the RNC is over. And her reporting is basically there is still some disgruntled troops that want to see a change at the top, including some donors. She thinks it will begin again in earnest after the RNC. From your perspective, I mean, does the message change? Does the approach to the last 4 months of this campaign change for Trump, whether it's Biden or Kamala or someone else?
No, I don't think so, because let's remember something. Joe Biden was losing this election before the debate. That's the whole reason why they had to have this, Hail Mary of a historically early debate, because they were trying to change the trajectory of this campaign. They were losing nationally. They were losing in the battleground states, not just one or two of them, all of them. And they were losing on all the major policies because people don't like the inflation, don't like the gas and grocery prices, the wide open border, the wars. Well, none of those policies are going to change, whether it's Kamala Harris or anyone else. It's not like Kamala's going to suddenly say, let's drill, baby, drill. Or let's secure the border. She is the open border czar. They want the inflation. She's the one that's out there cheerleading for pro-Hamas terrorists rather than standing in our support with Israel. Remember, this is the same woman who was bailing out the BLM rioters.
Well, I just want to make sure
support the police.
Yeah, no, I know, I hear you, but I just want to make sure that that you people in positions of calling shots and message crafting and positioning have thought about everything, because it's all hands on deck on the other side. Their best and brightest. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, just to make sure. Again, you're not just focused on what Carville is saying, but you're focused on some of the other ideas that are being bandied about on the other side, so that you can be, hyper responsive and cut them off at the pass to make sure it doesn't endanger Trump's electoral prospects. So let me just give you an example of what I'm talking about and have you respond to it.
Biden needs to upstage Trump after this shooting. Okay, so how is he going to do that? He has to come out as gay. So If I was his PR team, I would already be planning his coming out party. Everyone in the state, everyone in the crowd, gets poppers. They start playing I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross. He explains to America that he thought he was bisexual, but he realized that he's full-blown gay and that he's strictly men and it's a brat summer and he's gay. Another way he could upstage Trump is that he could get a little teardrop tattoo under his eye. Oh, yeah. Now that's gonna raise some eyebrows. Why did he get that? What's the tea behind that? People are really gonna like speculating what did he do last summer type of vibe. Next, if I was his PR team, I would already be building him a full body cast. If he only walks, well, he won't be walking because he'll be in a full body cast, but if he only gets rolled around in a full body cast from now on until the election, that's gonna create mass public sympathy. So he's gay with a teardrop tattoo, full body cast. If you have any other suggestions, please leave them in the comments.
Well, see, that's the kind of, so gay, teardrop tattoo, full body cast. Have you thought about that?
Well, I don't think that's probably the winning strategy. But it just shows you, just the level that they have sunk to. I understand. If I was on the other side, God help me, but if I was on the other side, I get it. You can't run on your own record. You can't run on your own policies because the American people have rejected them. And so the only thing you can do is try to attack. The only thing you can do is try to engage in rage and crazy conspiracy theories because that's all they've got left. I was sitting on set last night with one of the TV networks with a former Democratic member of Congress, and she identified it so well. She's like, this convention and the first night, the second night, they have just ticked off every single major Democratic voting bloc and highlighted people who are saying, no, I'm done. I've walked away. I'm moving over to Donald Trump, whether it's persons of color, whether it's labor unions, whether it's Hispanics and blacks and people who are just worried about security. You've got people up there showing this is a new Republican Party, a new America First Party, that the people like what we're actually saying when you take the politics out of it. Now we just have to have them complete the deal.
Yeah, it feels electrifying, even though you're sitting at home hundreds of miles away. But on Monday, when President Trump came out, or former President Trump, it's like he realized the enormity of the moment and what happened to him, that, he shouldn't be here. I thought he had tears in his eyes. I know I was crying, and Don Jr. looked like he was teary-eyed. What kind of changes as a man has he gone through, and what kind of message is he going to deliver on Thursday?
I truly think that, and I've not spoken to him since then, but I truly think that he realizes that it was either by an act of God or by sheer luck that he's with us. And we're talking about a millimeter of difference and having a much different campaign, a much different country, a much different world. And I also think that, he's probably in the mindset to say, I'm still here because I've got more work to do. And so I think that's what you're going to see the rest of this entire convention, but also in his speech tomorrow night, is one of the fact that let's drop the partisan labels. We can have our policy differences. We will have that debate. That's what campaigns are supposed to be about. But let's stop thinking that the other side is evil or that the other side is dangerous, because it's dangerous for America when we start viewing our neighbors who might or family members who disagree with us and think we can't still love them or be friends with them because we might disagree on a political campaign. And I think that's what you're going to see tomorrow night.
It's interesting. Yesterday, Biden proposed basically nationwide rent control. It's worked so well in New York. This is a continued effort to use the federal government to distribute the spoils of war. This is like, another version of wiping away, socializing people's college loan debt. And so this seems to me, whether it's Biden or, as you said, somebody else, the messages are going to change. So it's going to be the full-on goodie bag. Your rent's too high, we're going to cap it. Your groceries are too high, we're going to go after big grocery. Your college loans, you can't make your college loan payments, we're wiping those away. And then they have no choice to continue the threat to our democracy line of attack. I mean, they're so vested in that, and so is their comm shop, the DC Press Corps. I just don't see how they walk away from that.
No, and I think it's really ironic and kind of hilarious that this whole threat to democracy line from them is coming from a party that's now trying to ditch democracy and move Joe Biden off the ticket after he won the delegates. But it's suddenly inconvenient for them, so democracy, we have to destroy democracy to save it. Or the same party that is now apparently talking about making changes to the Supreme Court because they don't like it. You know, correct. I mean, don't forget, these are the same people who have objected to every election that they have lost since 1988. But they are the so-called defenders of democracy. I mean, it's really a joke. And on the other part, I mean, they don't have any new policy ideas. I mean, my goodness, they're looking to the People's Republic of California, New York, for their policy guidance. I mean, look at these places. They're falling apart right now. People can't afford to get a home because of high mortgage interest rates. Yep. Well, as opposed to getting our country going again so you can lower the interest rates, no, I just want to give you $10,000 that we don't have.
Mark Lauder, former Special Assistant to President Trump, currently Chief Comms Officer at America First Policy Institute. Mark, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Paul Jenkins, owner of Bancroft Architects and Engineers, a service-disabled veteran-owned small business providing design solutions for clients, including the VA. When looking for a trusted banking partner, Bancroft was lucky to find that partner in Signature Bank in 2015. With Signature, personal service goes beyond a login and a PIN number. My staff and I have the comfort of knowing that we're dealing with real people who know our business and care about us as individuals. Signature helped finance our new state-of-the-art facility, and Bancroft looks forward to further expanding business opportunities for disabled veterans and historically disadvantaged communities.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For over 10 years, the award-winning KWCC Construction has been building a better future locally and throughout the Midwest, constructing with detailed planning and execution, completing projects safely, timely, and with transparency. If you've ever visited the Wilder Park Promenade along the Riverwalk in Aurora or driven past the recently revitalized Copley Hospital, you're looking at the quality construction of KWCC. Maybe you've seen the adaptive reuse of 80 South River Street in downtown Aurora, which now includes residences and businesses that have revitalized the area. No matter the project, KWCC Construction offers services from indoors to outdoors, conception to completion. In fact, KWCC was recognized as 2022's Best Project in Landscape and Urban Development. Highly recommended. A general contracting company you can count on. That's KWCC. To request a proposal for your project, visit kwccinc.com. That's kwccinc.com.
Honey, what are we going to do with your grandparents' old coins and jewelry?
I'm pretty sure they're worth some money.
You've been saying that for years.
Okay, how about PGS Gold and Coin? They're the best when it comes to selling family valuables.
And you know this because...
PGS, when it comes to your valuables, they're the best.
Do that again.
PGS, when it comes to your valuables, they're the best.
Isn't that the place Jeff sold his grandmother's jewelry when she passed?
Yep, he checked out pgsgoldandcoin.com and found tons of positive reviews. He was blown away by how much he got. Do you? Oh, you're already on the site.
Almost. pgsgoldandcoin.com.
PGS Gold and Coin, the upscale way of selling your coins, jewelry, diamonds, and collectibles. Family owned and operated for over 14 years. Rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, now with 4 Chicagoland locations. And they make house calls. 888-416-2701 or pgsgoldandcoin.com.
PGS. When it comes to your valuables, they're the best.
The words you are about to hear are taken from letters sent in by members of the Trinity Debt Management Program.
Dear Trinity, today I'm making my final credit card payment.
Before I came to you, I was in a constant state of anxiety and panic, but now there is hope for my family's financial future.
Working with Trinity made me understand that I'm not alone.
You really do help people.
Your kindness will never be forgotten.
Without Trinity's support, I would not have achieved my lifelong goal of becoming debt-free.
We saved a lot on interest and penalties, of course, but the reward was the gift of human kindness.
Trinity has carried me through a very difficult time in my life. You're amazing.
I used to feel so anxious and hopeless. Now I feel grace and peace.
God bless Trinity as you continue to help others become debt-free.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976. That's 1-800-990-6976.
AM 560, The Answer.
Whoa. All right. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. Dan, anything to add? No.
Left it all in the field.
Okay. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Quinn McCarthy. Now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
A 6-year-old boy dies after falling into the Kankakee River. WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
An open investigation of the Secret Service. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. As of the Homeland Security's Inspector General has just started to evaluate the security lapse of the Trump assassination attempt. Some lawmakers will get a briefing today. The Secret Service Director, Kimberly Cheadle, will testify at a House hearing Monday. Republican Senator Rick Scott tells Fox Business.
So if it was her responsibility to make sure this was done right, I don't know how she can continue to keep her job.
At Saturday's rally, some attendees reported a suspicious person, then seeing a gunman on a rooftop. Fox's Jonathan Sari reports from Butler, Pennsylvania. There's new video we have obtained.
Police are trying to reach the location of the shooter, but you see them blocked by a perimeter fence. They first try to scale the fence. They eventually ram the fence with a police cruiser to create an opening. But the Army veteran who shot this video tells Fox News Digital he's surprised that the security plan did not involve a patrolled access point in case of this very type of emergency.
The former president, with his bandaged ear, sat at the convention last night watching his Republican campaign rivals support him, including Nikki Haley.
In this moment, we have a chance to put aside our differences and focus on what unites us and strengthens our country.
His daughter-in-law also spoke.
I have seen this man dragged through hell and back, in and out of courtrooms, indictments, impeachments, mugshots, and even an assassination attempt. And yet, he has never backed down.
RNC co-chair Laura Trump, the keynote speaker Tuesday. Today, on day 3 of the RNC, expect a full lineup, including a speech from the first millennial to join a presidential ticket, vice presidential nominee, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance.
As Fox's Jeff Manasso in Milwaukee, President Biden will address Latino voters in Las Vegas the day after he told the NAACP the Trump presidency was hell for black Americans. America's listening to Fox News. 9:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. 2 women were wounded after being caught in a crossfire in the Bronzeville neighborhood this morning. Chicago police say the shooting took place in the 2900 block of South Dearborn. A 24-year-old woman and a 28-year-old woman were shot and taken to nearby hospitals. The National Weather Service confirming nearly a dozen tornadoes hit northern Illinois and northwest Indiana Monday night. Tornadoes touched down from Yorkville to Naperville all the way into northwest Indiana. In multiple locations in the Chicago area suffered wind damage. This morning, ComEd reports that 67,000 customers remain without power. I-55 closures remain in place near Shanahan in Will County as crews work to clear power lines and several vehicles entangled in those power lines after the lines went down Monday night across I-55 in both directions.